I don't know, like, Vanessa laughed at yours. I just can't think of who would laugh at Kurt's. Like, I don't think it's an attempt at humor. Like, yours was a joke, and it clearly was a joke. You haven't watched the clip, but it just, that's what I'm talking about, right? That, it was an instance of a thing where I'm like, why are these vibes being brought right now? Not yours. Your vibes were great. I don't know.
Or how are you feeling right now?
I don't know. Or at least I don't know how to describe it all that well. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that there's a lot of context and stuff, and that it's tricky to unpack and all
The name of
that.
this clip is Deadlock.
I am. Okay. I'm going to send you the clip. You don't have to watch it. But basically it's, hold up, you can say share. How do you share it at timestamp? Share. Start there. Copy. Bam. And so that's the whole VOD. The clip can only be 1 minute. So it's really until this point. But, let me know if you're going to watch it, I guess. Personally, I think your take could be really valuable, and I would definitely view it as a favor if you watched it. But, no worries if not.
Okay, I'll watch it right now. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they just cancel each other out? Oh, that's it. There, Lord. I thought it killed my controller. I forgot. Oh, it's a slaughter. 3 winning lanes! 3 winning lanes!
I'm back.
Oh, he got 1 plate.
All right.
Dude, he has no dick.
Okay, yeah. So basically, given I guess the small context of this, vibe, I think,
What are you doing?
I don't know. It seemed like Kurt was frustrated about stuff. I guess my read is that Kurt was frustrated about stuff, and I don't know. I guess I believe that this your joke was funny, Kurt.
And I have my fucking hand.
I don't really think we could call it a joke. It's more or at least I don't think it was an attempt at humor. I think it was kind of like a dig in some way. And we were kind of talking about maybe why Kurt was frustrated, if that's even a thing that we agree with. But when I'm just talking with Kurt, I feel like we can't even get to the point where this is condescending or something, right? Like, I feel like if it's just me and Kurt, Kurt's like, oh, I think you're just hypersensitive, or I don't know, whatever. I don't want to put words in Kurt's mouth, but that is the vibe. That is why I'm like, it'd be great if there were a third party.
Not
I don't know.
world record, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have too much more to contribute. I think that the reason that I said what I said, or not like in this clip, but when I joined, was that I think that even if you're what Michael said was funny, I think that in general, if there's something like I think that like in like there's been like context of like
I'm going to go built.
making fun of Todd as idiot
Well,
before.
it is what it is. All League
That
players
like
say that.
I don't know if I
It's
super
like
want to
there was an
get into,
arcade
especially
game
like if it feels like
culture said
um like it's like a recurring theme and like if you ever feel ganged up upon, and also like you just have like much more of a history with Kurt and like can be I think like more open with how you feel about Kurt or like with Kurt. So I know that that's not like what you're saying here,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
I
feel like so that's okay. That's okay for you to kind of like go through this experience in the clip and be like, oh, I'm not going to do that to Todd anymore. I do think that is a pretty big misread. I think a lot of people do this sort of thing to me because of my invulnerability to it, right? It's like they're not, it's like I'm not going to be the person to make fun of it because I'm deeply not insecure. And, like that's why, my Mads or Liam, like I think a lot of people can do this and it truly does not bother me at all, right? But like I just think it's it's like you did a thing and Kurt did a thing. And I just think these two things that were done are completely different things. I think it's like you playfully made a joke. That was literally funny. It was quick-witted and just a funny joke. It's cringe to dissect it so much, but it was funny. Vanessa laughed. I think it's funny. I think it's just a funny joke. And then Kurt, in my view, just said something that was like it was a manifestation of some underlying frustration. It wasn't like Michael made a joke with Todd. Kurt emotionally lashed out. It wasn't made a joke with Todd or something, right? Like it just, and my reaction was fully a reaction from Kurt doing this thing, not you, right? Like what you said and didn't bother me at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is why what I was saying about the third party is important because like I don't really get that from like what Kurt said, like this being like a manifestation of something. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
you have way more context with Kurt.
Do you think that was Kurt trying to be funny?
I think it's like kind of dogging on you, like kind of, it's not like he's like, being like, I don't know, he's not like, what's the deal with airplanes these days? But it's like,
yeah, it's not like a joke with a punchline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's helpful to know.
But like again, like I don't have a lot of context.
Yeah.
To like know how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not. I guess, when you say it's Norse, you ignorant fuck, I feel like a third party would be like, this person's like. Would you just say these were two instances of two friends dogging on someone? I guess, you're kind of classifying them as like the same thing. I feel like, they are pretty different. And it's not just because one I believe to be, because I guess it's so subjective, but like one is successful and actually funny and the other it's just not. I don't know. But and that's super subjective. I guess so you don't really view these as two separate things.
I don't think that they're that different. But like I believe you if you feel like there is something different, and also like if there's history that like maybe would make you more sensitive.
Yeah. I mean,
the
I
other.
think when we first started talking about this, Kurt kind of launched into like how like he had been frustrated with me trying new games and how I don't, so
Table's
Mhm.
hot right
I
now.
think that
Runs to goal.
what you said was not out of frustration at all. Like, I don't think you were frustrated with me saying that at all. Or frustrated with me in general.
Yeah, I mean, but also like just my initial read is it doesn't seem like Kurt is like really frustrated here.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is so yeah, you don't really view them as different things where I take this second thing as oh, it's, looking back at it, I'm like, oh yeah, Kurt was clearly frustrated. Well, maybe not clearly, but to me I'm like, I think Kurt was frustrated about something here. And then without saying that, without leading Kurt to believe that, Kurt at least was kind of bringing up the possibility that this was a result of frustration of some sort. And Kurt, I don't know if you want to talk on that at all or anything.
This is like what is this?
Um,
I just want to hear the stand up.
um, yeah. Trying to remember. Like there is I mean, I don't feel like it's valuable to like subject Michael to it. to
Yeah.
like things that I
I'll
think.
take
Okay.
so you two
Yeah.
can talk. I
But
feel like
Yeah,
I
it's
did
also
have a
tough. I'm
question
like,
for
Kurt
Michael,
sounds just Kurt talks so different when you're here, Michael.
well,
I'm sorry.
but
What
like
do you? Oh my god, I've been streaming the whole time, Kurt. All right. Anyway.
well, Kurt
I mean,
hasn't
that's
talked
good.
much at
I
all,
haven't
to be
said
fair.
anything the whole time Michael's been here. What have I even said?
Yeah, Kurt has not really.
That's
said-
so different
Yeah.
from what I was saying before. I said nothing. What do you mean I
Well,
talk so
you've
different?
been-
I haven't said a
been-
word.
All right. Whatever.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
so
fair.
unfair.
I asked Kurt how he was doing, and he kind of demurred. I feel
Yeah,
like
so I
maybe
didn't have a whole lot to say. I'm like, I don't really know. You
All
know,
right.
like I feel like that's so unfair.
Well, even your tone is like very like it's the tone of the 10 words you've said have been night and day. But maybe that's just
right now, me being totally flustered by the fact that I'm being called out in a way that this seems completely in line with what I was doing before.
okay, Kurt. I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about when I said it 30 seconds ago.
Okay. So can you just say like it doesn't have
So,
to do with Michael
30
being
seconds
here.
ago.
I'm saying your premise.
I don't
is wrong.
necessarily-
But
okay,
We don't
okay.
need Michael to be here for this. But I did have a question for Michael though.
yeah.
That I think so, and I think that the context of the other things you've said is kind of well, okay. So in the clip, it also when Todd says that I'm in asshole mode, you reply with something like "what" or something like that. Is that you like just not, or I guess I don't want to lead the question necessarily, but I guess like how would you interpret your own what in that? Like what are you thinking that is making you say what there?
Let me rewatch the clip. I don't think I got to that point.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got to that point. Yeah, I think that I didn't realize like how hurt Todd was feeling, so like it just caught me off guard. Is what I would say. Like we play a lot of games together. I feel like Todd is normally not like you two don't like have a lot of real conflict. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mostly like Todd will be like their underpass, I'm gonna mow them down, and then like get killed, and Kurt's like, oh god damn it. But like I guess I was kind of surprised by the hurt. So like it was less like me being like, what are you talking about, Todd, and me being like, oh what? I don't know. It's also kind of hard for me to remember. Like I forgot that Todd even said that in the moment. Um, so yeah, that's my. I think that's kind of what I was thinking, but I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what my read was. It was less like what. That's what my read was. Was that you were just like kind of a little shocked that this was like a real confrontation that was happening, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like there was another time. When were you all fighting recently? There was like maybe when we were playing Deadlock or something.
Yeah, it was the time before Deadlock, when I was at Todd's place, and yeah, Todd. I was like having trouble with the setup, and Todd was.
Oh, that's right. And Todd, you were being a little bit like it feels like you were trying to get a rise out of Kurt there.
Yeah, I actually barely remember this. So.
Really? That one, yeah, I think neither of us were streaming because I was on my laptop. But that one, that felt like, it's yeah. That was the only one that you were there for, Michael. But yeah, I felt like that there were numerous times while at Todd's that Todd was. I just felt like I was being attacked for nothing, and I'm like, okay, I think I've just spent too much time around Todd lately because that's like a thing that I've acknowledged over time is like just a thing that happens between us. Where like if I spend too much time with Todd, I believe he gets in this mode where it's like, all right, I'm really frustrated by Kurt doing like really nothing. It feels like a lot, and yeah, but that's that's just like long-term content.
Yeah, and I guess I would.
I'm sorry to bring up a different time, but that's like, just like thinking back to like what I was saying. Those are the two only times I can remember feeling that way. Oh, like someone's actually hurt here, and they're actually fighting. More than just like like I said, I think that like my what was like, oh, like Todd's actually like hurt or upset or both. In a way where like most of the time when we're goofing off playing Counter-Strike or whatever, it's like doesn't have that vibe.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it also possibly would have been surprising, given that it sounds like you didn't necessarily see what I did as like overtly asshole-ish.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that I agree with you, Kurt, but I think that also, like, then in retrospect, I'm like, we kind of went in hard there on Todd when he just like didn't know a thing and he was sick.
Yeah, and I like, yeah, I definitely don't like.
Kurt apologizes like pretty quickly.
What?
I feel like
go rewatch the apology, Michael.
you feel like it wasn't sincere.
Wait, really? When he says, wait, let me find the timestamp.
To me, it felt like, I mean, there's a sensitivity and context here that, like, I misevaluated the. I feel like that was genuine. Like, I am sorry I did that. I shouldn't have. I wish I didn't.
Wait. I guess, I'm not gonna like speak for someone else, but I was showing Vanessa this clip. I'm going to try to minimally speak for someone else, but I like right when you said I'm sorry, I like paused. I just like I happened to, and then Vanessa was like, "Oh wait, is he gonna like apologize right here?" And then I pressed play and then saw the apology and she just went, "Oh." Like, well, that was not an apology, right? Which, I mean, I need to find it, but I think you say something along the lines of like, also tone goes a long way here. But you're like, I'm sorry, I won't try to say things that you interpret as me calling you stupid. Like that was like that is me doing a rendition of the tone in terms of how it landed. But fortunately, it's filmed and we can just see what the tone was. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm a little surprised that you would hear that, Michael, and be like, yeah, that was a pretty sincere apology. I don't know.
I mean, it's not, what do you mean by insincere? Like I am sorry I did it, and that is what I took to be the thing that makes it that is the thing that I should do differently.
Yeah, I think that it's like okay that you feel that way, Todd. I also think that there's also the context of like, we're like, I don't know, playing a game. Like it is like I think it's easier to like watch this clip over and over again and like dissect it uh as like a recorded thing then like uh then and like remove from the context of like we're just playing a game. I don't know. Yeah, like I see what you're saying, Todd.
Yeah.
But like to be honest, like I did have like thinking like when we finished playing, I was like, okay, well, Kurt did apologize for that, and like maybe, like maybe it wasn't the best apology if that's what you're saying, but yeah, I think that I was also, like I said, I think that I was also just kind of taken off guard.
I guess like if like the apology was another dig. It was like, I'm sorry, you interpreted it that way. Didn't realize it was particularly sensitive. Like it's another dig. I don't. Did you rewatch that part of the clip?
What is it?
I mean, if you walked away thinking it was like an apology, then like, okay. But,
So you're saying that saying someone's sensitive is a dig?
I mean,
They
one,
could
it's
just be sensitive to it, and just like that fact
okay.
being mentioned is a dig.
Okay, do you put yourself?
I wasn't trying to make a dig there.
Okay, but it's a terrible read. It is a terrible read of reality in the situation, Kurt. I am not particularly sensitive to my own intelligence compared to whom? Compared to the average person?
It depends on what you mean by sensitive. It depends on what you mean by sensitive. If sensitive means like if me making something in that relevance is going to lead to like you saying that I'm an asshole and this stuff, like
I mean, Michael said something like that, and it didn't. Michael said I was really ignorant, and so it's.
Yeah, so
this is a terrible diagnosis, Kurt. It's not that I'm particularly sensitive.
It depends.
Delivery matters.
It depends on
like,
yeah, but like again, I think if somebody else did a similar thing, I think it wouldn't have. Like I think there was context there that
I think if you watch this clip and you think that, oh wow, this person is likely very sensitive about their intelligence, I think
no to me saying something about, maybe I didn't phrase it right, but it's more about your relationship with me than it is about the I mean the topic is also relevant. It's your relationship with me with this topic, but yeah, I mean that's the pattern with all of these things, Todd. That's why I bring these other ones into it. It is me doing something, and then like in some of these cases, I would say like me doing something that is totally like not. It just feels like I'm doing something totally normal, and to me, it feels like it's your relationship with me is the
I get that. I mean, yeah, I get that
and
these
so
like
I
hypersensitivities and
and
stuff
so
like
so
that.
what it leads me to is I need to, for lack of a phrase, like tiptoe around certain topics because me, even me specifically, being near them is something that you're sensitive to. That's what I
Yeah,
mean by
and
sensitive.
I believe that whole like a lot of that is like incorrect. And I believe that this instance here was partially an unhealthy way for you to air out frustration. And a way that you do that is to talk to someone condescendingly. When Sammy comes in and says, "Kurt, you also talk to me condescendingly a lot in these sorts of ways." I get you're like, "Oh, the problem is not you at all." And you have to just tiptoe around this. And I think if you could see this as someone I love, as someone I love more than anyone else in the world,
Ouch.
I like you. I think your life would be better. That is why I want to have this whole conversation. I think if you could see that this was not an attempt at humor, it is not the same as what Michael did. It was and earlier you alluded to that, maybe thinking that was a possibility, but now you're back at actually it's not you, it's just me overreacting.
Really fast, I just want to uh, Michael, I don't want you to feel trapped here.
Yeah.
Like by all means, feel free to dip at any point.
Yeah, I think I will. I love
Yeah.
you both.
Yeah.
I think you're both good people. I hope that, if not in this Discord call, you both get what you want out of this conversation.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much, Michael.
Yeah, I
I
appreciate
appreciate a ton
everything.
you jumping
Yeah.
in here, wanting to game, and dealing with this bullshit.
I just posted how I felt in the hashtag general channel. All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night.
Later.
Bye.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess
I mean, okay,
I'm not
we can
going to say
I'm-
that I'm
I'm-
not like I'm the one who brought up the hypersensitivities at first. Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say we can talk about it as if, let's just talk about it as if that's the case, as if whatever we say is the case. Like okay, so let's say hypothetically that I am frustrated with things you do in games or something. Because regardless of whether or not this is an instance of one thing or another, it's a realistic thing that could come up, and it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. This is really where I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
We just couldn't. Yeah. So
I don't feel like I was being
guess.
particularly difficult, but anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about like if you're in a situation where somebody does something frustrating.
Well, so that's the other thing is, I don't know what I did that was frustrating here. I can't point anything out.
Okay, but let's table that for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you're in a position where you think somebody's
Yeah.
done something that you think is frustrating, and you think it,
Oh yeah, that I am frustrated by something that someone's done. How about that?
Yeah, and let's just for the sake of it say that it's valid.
Yeah.
So like, what is and isn't like off limits? It's like it's not an easy situation to.
It's not.
Well,
I guess in my, historically, like, there are like, it's hard. It's hard to handle this well. And in general, I think people who can handle this well are going to be happier than people who can't. There's like healthier way, like, it's like this is a thing that I strive to get better at.
mm-hmm.
Is if I am emotional, like we don't even have to just talk about the specific emotion of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an emotional, how do I act? And can I actually try to make that less impacted by my emotions? Like I can communicate those emotions effectively, and I can communicate those emotions by manifesting them in, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but okay. So I guess what would you say is an example of manifesting them effectively?
communicating them, right? Like,
But
I am
how
hurt by what you
how are you,
did, or I feel frustrated that this.
so like you think so like if we say that this is an example, let's say this is an example of hypothetical, let's give me like the most charitable
Yeah,
situation,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Okay,
I'm in a
okay.
situation where you have done something annoying and are, and have a long history of doing, and like so like in that moment I should say like, hey Todd, you do this thing where you're like killing the vibe and annoying, and like you won't you're just like really easily overwhelmed by things that are, I know they are simple and like they aren't, they shouldn't be overwhelming to you. It's like you are way more than capable of, or whatever. It's like, how can you bring this up? It's like
Wait. I don't. What is so confusing?
I'm,
Wait. So sorry. What is the sorry? What is the like? Sorry. Paint a picture of a scenario, please, where you are frustrated with me. Say you are frustrated with me because I'm doing something. What is the thing?
okay, because um you are okay. Let's say the thing is you're extremely quick to quit something and won't put and are just like, I just, there are
Okay.
just too many
But
things, and
give
I'm
me an action, Kurt. I'm saying
okay.
so
Okay,
an
so
action. For
yeah,
example,
okay,
we are playing a game,
yeah.
and I go,
And you
ugh,
go,
I fucking hate this
yeah,
bird. I don't know
I
what that
hate,
is, and I'm
this.
quitting.
I don't want to quit. Yeah, I'm quit. And yeah. Okay,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
solid.
So you're okay. Great. Um, I think a good reaction to this sort of thing. So I can see how that can be frustrating through empathy. That's why I wrote about it. I'm just thinking about how that can be frustrating. I can see how this can be frustrating.
Mhm.
And so your question is, how could you deal with that? What is it?
Well,
An,
you're saying, yeah, you need to communicate the thing that's frustrating.
yeah. So, and you're asking me how?
Well,
Is
I'm
that
also
correct? I'm
wondering.
just
I'm also
like,
wondering, like, are you saying in that moment? And if so,
in what
how?
moment? The moment of me doing what?
Having the whatever you just said, right? The
Okay,
rant
so
you
that
just,
I quit the game.
and you're saying these things, or you're saying you don't want to play. You don't have to quit. You can just say like, God, I don't like this. I'm not gonna like it, and you don't even just say you quit or that you want to quit. It could just be like, God, I just hate this. I don't want to. Yeah, whatever. You get the idea. Doesn't have to be anything specific, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
mean,
it's required.
um, I so what's the question? Is it how can
How
you
about this? How about this?
handle this situation? And
Instead of asking you the right way to do it, is a valid route potentially to express that you don't like what's happening without getting into the weeds of it in that moment while you're trying to play a game.
uh, let me think. Express that you don't like what's happening without getting. What do you mean by getting into the weeds of it?
So you don't need to go into much detail. Like you could just be like, I don't like that what you did. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to express this exactly. But like basically like let's say it's something that's just too much detail to like have a whole conversation about in that moment, but you
Hmm.
do want to know that that's a thing that you don't like.
So
Um,
you're saying you don't like that I'm. We'll just say actively being a baby about playing a new game. We'll just call it that.
Sure.
Okay. And you don't like that. This person's actively being a baby
Yeah.
about this game that you're inviting them to play or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. You're asking if there is any way without having a whole like any way to handle this that communicates that you, Kurt, does not like how Todd is acting without kind of getting into a whole conversation and identifying all this stuff.
Yeah.
Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah. But I would say that the latter part isn't important. If you think the right thing to do is to, in that moment, I'm only adding that part as an assumption that the right thing to do is not to subject anybody else who's there and or change the total situation that you're in to a conversation about the thing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I added that. Like, it's not an important part of it.
Okay.
To me, it's like it's just
So okay. So I mean, in this situation, I guess I think of myself in a situation like this, and I'm like, okay, I can see how I would be frustrated, right? And that makes it hard to just like, be really cool-headed, right? But something, I guess my first instinct, because I'm not experiencing these emotions right now, so I get to be cool-headed. I don't know. My first instinct is to kind of be like, hey, like, yeah, maybe it's not maybe this isn't for you, or you don't have to play. So maybe after this game you can log off. Or like, I'm not really digging the vibes of playing with you right now, so maybe it makes sense to not play right now together. Something like that, right? It's just like my first. That seems like
I guess
one example of.
I mean, do you need to be suggesting that they leave? And if so, like, what is your intention with that?
Okay, maybe not suggesting that they leave. I'm not really digging the vibes of us playing together right now.
I guess okay. So the initial question was not just what to. Or I guess yeah. Initially, I did ask like what to do, but the overall question is like, if you can express that you dislike something, like if a valid like route, which it sounds like it is, a valid route to a situation where you're bothered by something like this is to
express that you dislike it.
Yes. So it's really a question of whether or not I properly expressed that I disliked it. If that's, what's happening here in this instance.
Well, yeah. Well, wait. Which instance are we talking about?
Okay. I mean, I guess so.
We can't be talking about the video right now. There's me. I'm not doing any of this in the video. We can't. We need to step away from the video if we're talking about these examples.
Wait, why?
What did I do in the video?
No. But
I just said it's a weird word.
No.
It is a weird word.
No. But we're not saying we're saying if something is being perceived. Yeah. Okay. We're not talking about the video necessarily.
Okay.
I'm saying,
cool.
But. Oh my god. Yeah.
A lot of what we were talking about, I don't really think we can apply. I mean, it can loosely be applied, but
when we were talking about the video, we were also saying, okay, let's give me the most charitable, possible interpretation, just for sake of like looking into it.
But then you literally drew the conclusion of, so it's just that this. So it's just that. It's just about. How I said this thing. I'm like, well, no.
Okay.
Because it's also about whether or not it's warranted.
Which
we are talking about the hypothetical still.
I think it's not. So, okay. I think it's kind of not. I think you can be wrong about that, but you can. No. So okay. So yeah. Okay. We're talking. Let's say yeah. There's a situation where something happens and you don't like it. A valid path forward, and it could be for
Is to
pretty
communicate that you don't like it?
is to express in some way that you don't like it. But again, like it's not like you weren't saying, "Hey, I didn't like that thing you did." You said, "I don't like the vibes right now." Like right, you're making it broad and not about the thing specifically. And I don't know that like it's.
Well, I mean, I was saying I'm not enjoying playing with you right now.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, so that is also indirect. So we're not saying you
Okay,
have to have a
yeah.
direct way to, you have some roundabout way, and so
Okay,
there's more
yeah,
than
yeah.
one roundabout way to express that you don't like something.
Okay. Wait, so sorry. I just came up with like one example though. What? Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Well,
So
okay.
there's a lot of ways to express that you don't like something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a valid thing to do in that situation is to find some way to, and again, this is difficult, some way to express that you don't like something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. And,
Well,
um,
okay, yeah. I mean, yeah.
and so then, okay, so then in the hypothetical, and so that's kind of devoid of whether or not it's warranted. Then, like, after the fact, it can be kind of addressed whether or not it's just a misinterpretation of what's going on. But, like, while you're in the moment, it's a you got to react to things as you perceive them. Um, and so, okay, in the hypothetical where I am seeing this as, the thing we were describing, as another instance of what we described, and then I want to express that I dislike it, and that
Mm-hmm.
me saying this is an expression of this disapproval. The thing that you are saying I'm doing wrong is it's a poor expression of it.
In which example? Sorry, you said this example.
In the example where we are interpreting the events that happen in the clip as uh,
Oh, we're talking. Okay.
me viewing what you are saying as, another instance of you doing, we can call it being
Yeah.
or whatever.
The charitable one where I am like acting shitty. Let's just say Todd
Yeah.
acting shitty.
Yeah. Todd acting shitty. Todd, seeking yet another thing to be.
We can just say Todd acting shitty. Okay,
Sure,
cool.
sure. Yeah.
I get what you mean. I'm the one who came up with it.
Yeah. So. What was I saying?
So in the case where Todd's acting shitty,
Mm-hmm.
and then, well, so now I'm trying to follow. So if you respond in this way,
No.
what happens? Or, no, okay.
No.
Sorry.
It's in the case where Todd's acting shitty. The objective, a valid course of action, is to express that you don't like it. A valid, healthy course of action. And that's it.
Earlier you said, and that's the only way to do it, and I was like,
I don't
I
think I
said
said
like,
that's
yeah,
the only way
sure,
to do
I'm
it.
following, but well, I
You're saying I said that.
that's a heavy statement, right? I'm not out here saying there's only one way to.
Yeah, I
you know what
don't.
mean?
I don't think I said anything like that. I think you probably misinterpreted something I said. I can't think of something I would have said that would be in that ballpark.
Or okay. No, Kurt. I am not trying to say there is exactly one thing to do.
Yeah, it's not what I said either.
Okay, sorry.
I don't understand
Repeat what you
you're
just
saying.
said. I'm clearly confused. I'm confused.
Yeah. I said one option, one valid course of action is to express that you don't, a valid, healthy, not unhealthy course of action one option, is to
Mhm.
express that you don't like the thing that is happening. Is to have some expression, communicate in some way that you don't like the thing that is happening. That can be a valid course of action.
Yes.
Okay. So then if that is the chosen route to go in this situation that we agree is
Mhm.
hard, then uh, it is a problem of coming up with a
How to effectively communicate?
how to effectively communicate that you dislike this thing without or in what is
Yeah.
possibly or validly a roundabout way. Um,
It could be
yeah,
roundabout or
but
it could be direct,
even
but
just when you came up with your example, you also gave a roundabout way. It is
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
more often than not you're going to try to come up with a roundabout way to do it. And even that's you
Well, I mean,
in your own
I
words in a not emotional state, coming up with a good way to do it. Um,
well, yeah, mine was roundabout, but I think it was like I wouldn't say that in most cases. Like you had said like in a case where you really don't want to have like you don't want to bother the people around. That's the headspace I was
yeah, and and I'd say that
putting myself into. I don't.
totally applies here, and it probably applies in a lot of instances.
Okay.
A
Okay.
lot of the time. Um,
Sure. The thing I came up with first, yeah, was I guess fairly roundabout.
mhm.
I roundabout in the sense that I wasn't like I don't like what you're doing right now. It
Yeah,
was like
yeah, exactly.
what's a way that I think is less likely to make the person I'm talking to
Yep.
get defensive or something. So I guess I made it roundabout so that I you know didn't so that was less likely to bother the people around. Okay, cool. So
Um, so, uh, yeah. So, okay. So, if the instance in the clip is an instance of this,
Shitty
then
Todd.
is of Shitty Todd and of
hmm
Kurt trying to communicate that he doesn't like something. The criticism here is that it was a bad job of communicating that, which we agree is a hard problem.
Wait. Uh.
I'm
Wait. What? Sorry.
I am identifying what
Mhm.
I have done wrong in this interpretation
Yeah.
by
And so
you.
we're ignoring what Todd's done wrong. We're ignoring what Todd's done. Like shitty Todd, we're ignoring. That's its own.
Uh, yeah, I think it's yeah, yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty not. Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Which I think the conversation in general was more about my actions than
Yeah.
yours. So I think yeah.
So you're saying that if Todd's being really, really shitty, yeah, I'd say. So now we're specifically talking about the clip. Let's say so at this point, Kurt has been frustrated with Todd being like, God, there's a stupid fucking bird. I don't know what this word is. What is that? Greek? Oh, this is so stupid. Todd's ruining the vibes.
Mhm.
Um, and okay, we look at the clip. Yeah, I think this is so what's the question?
So ultimately, it's a problem of how can I express that I dislike this thing, and you saying, and the thing that I did wrong is did a poor job of finding an answer to that question.
Wait, say the whole thing again.
It is a question of uh, and of how can I express that I don't like this thing, and the thing that I've done wrong is specifically is
Wait. Is it possible to do one of these questions at a time?
I don't
Or
know that it
I'm
is,
okay, wait.
because I think
I'm
it's one
sorry. I'm still
question.
really confused then. I
Yeah.
don't
So
so
we've
that is
addressed that
I
there is.
understand the state of the world. Todd's being really shitty. And then you do exactly what you did here in this clip. And
Uh,
the
no,
question it
no.
okay.
So we are before Todd's being shitty, and now
Yeah.
I'm coming up with what to do.
Oh, okay.
And we agree a valid and healthy thing to do is answer the question, or no, is to express that I don't like the thing that is happening. Have some expressions, communicate in some way that
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
And then what happens in the clip hypothetically is me doing that, and
Wait. Oh, what? Okay. So what happens in the
yeah.
clip is you communicating that. Is that?
Yeah.
I swear, I'm just standing here trying to understand. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
doing anything else. Um, what was the first part again?
All right. It is valid and healthy to.
So we agree that it is. Sorry, yeah, you just gotta run it again.
We agree that in a situation like this, it is valid and healthy to express that you don't like the thing that is happening.
Yes.
If that is what is happening in the clip.
Okay, so sorry, pause there. If it is the case that in the clip you are communicating. Okay, well then actually I want to revise the first thing. Because it's not always valid and healthy to express that you don't like something. There are healthy ways to do it and unhealthy ways to do it, right?
I don't think the first thing was
Well, okay,
contradictory
wait.
to
What
that
was the first
statement.
thing again? What was the first thing?
A valid thing to do can be.
Okay, yeah. A valid thing.
To,
Okay, yeah. And then, if that is what is happening in the clip, which is an attempt to communicate this frustration.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm there, and I'm with you.
Why do you say it like that? Why do you? Anyway.
What?
It's just the
What?
way.
Huh?
Okay.
Wait. Holy shit!
Dude,
I have no idea what you're picking up there. I fully was just like, I'm here and I'm with you. I'm not saying this in like a. I've been confused, and now I'm here and I'm with you. I did not mean any sort of thing here.
I mean, you can understand how it looks like you're like trying to pick things apart at least a little bit when you say things like, I don't agree that it's always the case that this and it's like, well, okay, I
I'm
didn't
not
say
trying.
anything
I'm
like
not
that.
okay. Yeah, maybe, sure.
It's fine.
But
it's
let's
fine.
assume good
It's fine.
intentions, dude. I'm dead at. I promise. Cross my fucking heart, Kurt. I am just trying to understand the question you are asking. I am not trying to pick it apart. I am just like I can't because you got to the end of it like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, I don't know what to say because I don't understand the question, and that's where we've been. So I'm just trying to. I swear to God, I'm not sitting here trying to devise anything or pick anything apart.
Yeah,
just trying
but
to understand.
I mean, you could also be, it doesn't need to be like picking it apart. You can just be like being difficult, and you can like, but it doesn't matter.
Like intentionally, or am I difficult if I'm just stupid and I can't understand you? Or am I intentionally being difficult? Because that's why I just said the phrase assume good intentions. We can assume good intentions here. I'm not fucking being difficult. I'm
Okay,
not trying to
I
pick anything apart.
disagree. I don't think you can just blindly assume good intentions all the time. I disagree with
Okay,
that premise.
well, I hope that
I
we
think
can here.
I think there are times, not necessarily now, where like I don't think you could just say you've never been difficult.
Yeah.
So I think having
But
some
I'm
kind of
saying right now, I don't. Do you not believe me when I say this? Do you
and
not believe me right now when I'm saying I'm trying to understand you?
I do believe you.
Okay. So maybe that can't be assumed. But I'm declaring now that my only intent, especially let's say for the past 15 minutes or the past 8 minutes, if you ask me this question, has been to understand you. I've tried not at all to pick anything apart. We got to the end of the question and I said I don't know what the fucking question is.
Okay, but
let's start over.
You can be trying to understand, and then you can be also presenting yourself in a way that is, for example, asshole-ish, right? And then everything you've just said is still true, but you can also be being an asshole. And me saying like, why do you have to do it this way? Doesn't need to be that you're not trying to understand. It could be that you're just doing it in a way that is like not very compatible with other humans having a terrible time. But okay, that's fine. It's besides the point, and I don't have an example of it, and it's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. What's the question? Run it back.
So, okay.
Actually, I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna start it.
Okay.
So we when there's a when Todd's shitty situation, it can be valid to communicate that it is not making you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that was step one.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? I'm asking.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me say that, but yes.
Okay, I couldn't. There was no sound. Okay. So then, so that, and we're assuming the shitty. Okay, so in the clip, it is you are communicating, at least attempting to communicate, that you are not enjoying it. Was that the second part?
Sure. Yeah. Let's say that is. Yeah. Let's say that I am. So we're saying that's a valid course of action. Let's say that's what I'm doing.
What you are. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what you are doing is communicating. So, that thing can be a valid course of action, and this is
me attempting to do
Okay,
something
cool.
valid and healthy and good and fine.
Well, wait. This thing can be a valid course of action, and what you did is an instance of that thing. That's all we have there, right?
Yeah. I don't think anything I said is different
Okay.
from that. Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Therefore, I am doing something that is I'm attempting to do a valid course of action.
No, that doesn't logically follow.
Okay, maybe not by modus ponens, but we could just say that is a possibility.
Oh. Yeah, it's possible that you're attempting to communicate this in a healthy and valid way?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Okay, let's just grant that that's what I am trying to do. I mean,
Oh.
isn't that what we already said? Didn't we say that that's what I'm trying to do? As part of the wasn't that step 2? Okay, wait. Step 1 is that this is valid to do. Step 2,
this can be valid to do.
Okay, this can be valid to do. Step 2 is that's what's happening in the clip, isn't it? What was step 2? What was statement 2?
So it's step 1 is A can be valid.
Yes.
Step 2 is you are doing A. At least
Yeah.
attempting to do A.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I am attempting to do something that can be valid.
That.
And, and
well, yeah. You are attempting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You
Okay.
are attempting to do something that can be valid.
Okay. So
Sure.
and then so can we not? Okay. So let's add a part 3. I am trying to do something valid.
No. I don't think so. Necessarily.
Okay. So I guess.
Like if I'm like, you know,
Okay. Okay.
murder can
let's
be
say,
good for the world.
Todd.
Like,
Okay. Let me
do
try
you know
to.
what? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
Okay.
Do you understand why I'm confused at least though?
Yeah, but I think you're not. I think you're having a hard time seeing the forest through the trees here, and
Okay.
I think I think you can
Clearly.
see. Like, why do you say clearly then? Anyway,
Clearly.
like what are you trying? I know, but what
Right,
does
yeah.
that add? It just feels like you're
Okay.
trying to interject or something. I don't know. I don't know what your drive is, but you do these things a ton in these kinds of conversations where you just say all of these unnecessary words that feel like I don't know. But it doesn't feel. It feels like it's difficult. Anyway.
I mean, earlier, we're recording the whole thing. Like earlier, like I had to stop you and go. I know what you're talking about, Kerr. I'm the one who came up. Like you just were adding a bunch of unnecessary stuff. Like I could find the clip.
Okay, so
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
So your
Like,
response is saying, "Kurt, you do it too."
Sure.
Okay.
But then, so I guess if you're saying I don't know what drives you when you do this thing, and I'm like, here's you doing it, then
Well,
that-
I would argue I wasn't doing what you're doing, and I think that was a different case. But
okay. Anyway,
um,
should we? Okay. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, it's what.
okay.
Well,
So let's just grant, or sorry, let's say I am trying to communicate that I don't like
yeah.
the thing. And so ultimately what's wrong is not necessarily or let's just say that it's not or I think we can just say that what's wrong is not the like
Wanting to communicate it, it's how you're communicating it.
yeah.
I don't know why this took us so far to get here. Yeah, this feels.
But
Yeah.
well the piece that's new is just that like yeah, that the goal is just to express a dislike of what's happening. The goal is right. And it's the execution that is like you are saying the execution is what's faulty here.
We're still talking about the case where I am just being like a shitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
That wouldn't have changed.
Okay.
You keep reiterating that. You keep saying it over and over again. It's like, yes, we've been in the same. Yes.
All right, Kurt. I think we need to step back for a sec. I think clearly you're pretty emotional right now.
Okay, but do you not understand why like you need to keep reiterating the same thing in the scenario that we've talked about the whole time can be frustrating?
Yeah, I mean at that point you're just frustrated that I'm stupid or something, right?
It's
like
no, I don't think
I'm
you're being
like
stupid.
trying to verify my understanding. I'm not asking. I don't know why you think I'm asking. I'm truly
okay,
trying
here's
to
an example.
understand what
Here's
you're
an
saying,
example.
and I'm confirming that what I believe is correct.
An example, like,
I get how this could be frustrating, Kurt.
but it's
okay?
it's not just a similar maybe example is like when Michael was here. As you were talking, you kind of cut yourself off and were like, okay, well, you still haven't watched the clip, and then I'm saying, and it's like, I mean, you're saying that with you've got like a, right, like it's,
I
it's
don't
hard to
I don't
describe. It's not
I
important.
yeah, really hard
Okay,
time
that's fine.
putting together how that's similar to what I'm doing here, which is
Okay. All right. Never mind. Never
yeah,
mind. Never
asking
mind.
this over and over.
I think I'm trying to juggle too many things. I'm gonna stop like trying to bring up like your tactics of conversation here. I don't think they're relevant to the conversation. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing that. That's my bad.
Okay. Um, I'm
When you say
lost now.
when you say K there like that. Okay. That's what I was getting at. Is like it sounded like you were kind of confused. So I've multiple times now kind of brought up like the way you've said things or something like that. That's really just not relevant to the conversation
No, I'm not confused about
at
what you
hand.
just said. I said, okay, I'm okay. I understand what you just said. I understand that you're not going to do that anymore. And now I'm lost. I just said, K, I'm lost now. Lost. Where are we at in the conversation now? I'm lost.
Yeah.
Where were
Okay.
we? Is what I. K, I'm lost now is me saying, where were we?
Okay. So okay. I think. Um. Um. I think we've gone in circles too much about what I was trying to say. So ultimately, what it sounds like is yeah. So me in the clip is a poor expression of disliking what you've said.
Sorry,
You think?
because you say it in the clip there, I'm just saying, what are we talking about in the clip with or without the context? Or with the Todd shitty? Sorry,
Okay.
I'm still not
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So I'm not sure what you mean then, because what do you mean by Todd Shitty here?
I
With
mean, like, are we talking about the it's it's confusing, Kurt. So I'm trying to
I'm confused and I'm asking
Todd
what do you mean?
shitty. Yeah, it's hard because if I ask, then it's been. So my understanding of Todd being really shitty is the hypothetical where I'm being really shitty. Right? I'm like, this bird's stupid. I fucking hate this game. What the? That's the Todd shitty. Okay, so when you say in the clip,
Yeah. I mean,
are you talking about
I
the
mean,
hypothetical where
so
Todd's
okay,
shitty?
okay. I guess here's my question. Here's why I'm confused. Why does that matter?
Maybe
Why?
it doesn't.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like the reason we made the hypothetical is because I think we can just kind of
Okay.
take for granted
So
that it doesn't matter to start, and then if you think that matters, you can bring that up later. But I think it doesn't because it's just like what you're interpreting
well,
in the moment. And
no, well, in the actual clip, we don't even know if you're like you're attempting at just being funny or if you're frustrated with something or what. So
right, yeah, but
I don't. In the actual clip, without the context, I don't know if you are trying to communicate any of that. So
uh,
are we talking about the hypothetical where you're trying to communicate this frustration? Or are we talking about the actual clip where
I'm
it's
saying
still the jury
okay.
is out?
I'm saying if in the clip I am trying to communicate this.
Yeah, I feel like we've gained so little here. Just stepping out for a sec.
Yeah.
I'd be like, anyone who sees like a relationship would be like, okay, like, oh, this person did this shitty thing and it was an unhealthy way to communicate, or like this person did something and it was an unhealthy way to communicate this need that they want, or something like that, right? There are unhealthy ways to communicate things, and
Yeah,
there are
so
healthy ways to
that's
communicate.
that's what I'm trying to get to is whether or not this is an unhealthy way to communicate it.
Yeah, why is this taking us so long?
It's because you keep getting confused about what we're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Well, uh, okay. So I
So that's
don't
what
know how
I'm
to
trying.
respond to that. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
we move on. Like I'm not
Okay,
saying we
yeah,
need to dwell on why this has taken so long, Todd.
yeah.
I'm trying
Okay, okay,
to. That was a.
okay.
um. Uh. So
So you're saying in the clip,
yeah, I guess you're saying it's an unhealthy. Let's see. Yeah, you're saying it's an. Sorry. What were you saying? I feel like I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I saying it? I don't know if I was trying to say anything. I've just been trying to understand what you're saying. Uh, and I thought you were saying like this is a way. I mean, I guess I kind of little detour. I think. I mean, if you're asking if I believe this was is an attempt to communicate frustration, um,
Uh,
that was ineffective and unhealthy, then I'd say maybe that's like kind of what I theorized.
well,
Right?
not just not communicate frustration as much as like just that you don't like the thing that's happening. Maybe,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
agree. Okay.
but I don't. You don't like the thing that's happening is really hard because I'm like, it's not happening in the clip, so I do.
So, or the thing that is being perceived to be happening.
Oh, so I don't know if we're taking that as
Hypothetically.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Or wait. So okay, yeah. You don't like the thing that is being perceived to be happening. Yes, so is your question, do I believe this is a bad way of communicating that? Absolutely.
Okay. And so, what about it makes it that way?
Uh,
And again, it's not that it's not a perfect way, or it's not that it is a perfect way to do it, but like, could it be that it's like a
why making fun of someone in a dig that is like an ineffective way of communicating that you dislike something. Like I feel like this
do you
seems
think
so
so?
basic.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I don't know. I think like I think that is a thing. Like I think there can be like um I think there could be ways to kind of do a make fun of slash dig that does communicate that you don't like the thing and isn't uh like it's effective at communicating that and maybe not necessarily. I mean, I don't exactly know, but like to me that doesn't seem off the table as like
So
a means of
yeah, perhaps we can't
communicating
say
that.
perhaps we don't have the privilege of using blanket statements like,
Yeah, but I don't
you
even
know,
mean like
these generally aren't
right.
effective. These ones are generally
But
effective, right?
I guess what makes this one ineffective is worth maybe thinking about.
I it took me a while to process because in the moment I am personally like I have if this were so I don't see that what I'm doing is annoying. It's also like in the present moment, right? I don't see that I'm being a shitter.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you say, Todd,
But I guess
I'm not really enjoying this because I think
yeah.
that X, Y, and Z things, then a conversation, then I'll know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, you didn't make that joke, and I thought, oh, Kurt must have interpreted that word thing that I said as just general negative energy, and he's maybe hypersensitive to me bringing negative energy to these things. Like, I couldn't do all the math. There's no way I would have picked up if that's what you were attempting to put down, was to communicate, I don't like what you are doing right now. There's no way I would have picked that up.
But isn't that, I mean, I didn't read the doc, but isn't that kind of the conclusion that you came to? Like, didn't you ultimately pick that up?
Yeah, like way later.
Okay. But okay, so I'm just saying, to say there's no way that you would ever pick it up is just not true. Or you mean like it's unlikely in that
Oh,
moment,
okay.
but like
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
you did pick it
No.
up, or if that's what's
Yeah,
happening. That's what you
I
picked
said
up
there's no way I ever would have picked that up, and I meant
in the
in
moment.
that moment.
But
That's what I meant.
but does that you dislike something need to be like understood in that moment? Is that like a necessary component of that being an effective thing? Or like an unhealthy, like, is it, that it's not straightforward enough to be picked up in the moment? Is that what makes it unhealthy? Because I'm asking what makes it unhealthy, and you brought up that it wasn't able to be
Or
picked up in
maybe
the
not
moment.
unhealthy, maybe like ineffective.
Okay, ineffective, yeah. But ultimately, I'm not
Um,
trying to fix you in the moment. So effectiveness is a long term thing. By the way,
no,
I'm
but
going to the bathroom, so
oh,
I might break up a little
okay.
bit. Sorry, but I can still hear you. Um, I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
that if I break up,
Yeah,
that's what that
yeah.
is.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I feel like uh so to communicate something to someone that is
I guess ultimately, I asked you why it was ineffective, and you said it's ineffective because I didn't understand it in the moment. And I'm
well,
saying,
yeah, and I also think most people would not understand. Like, I think that I think most people would walk away from this as being like, I shouldn't say that. I think that I demonstrated some skill. If we accept that this is what you were trying to communicate, I think I demonstrated a pretty high amount of skill by identifying it. Because it was not easy to understand. I had to think about the context. I had to think about not at all what I did, but how it could be interpreted. Like,
yeah, but that's a product of like the like um of uh like you're taking for granted that what you did is, or like, let's see, because like I don't necessarily know, like in the moment, like that is a separate thing, right? That's still a part of the conversation of like whether or not what you did is an instance of uh you being Todd being shitty.
that can't be. Should we have the conversation?
No.
Oh, is that up in the air at all?
I don't think it's relevant. I don't think it's relevant, and
Okay,
you keep
okay,
bringing
okay,
it in
okay.
as if it is, and I think it's not.
Okay, okay,
So
okay, okay,
I think
okay.
the confusion of it is largely
Well, no,
driven by the fact that
I'm bringing it in, Kurt, because okay, so I believe that to communicate effectively It means that the person picked up what you were trying to put down.
But
Okay?
yes, but
And
whether
oh,
or not something's going to get picked up is also largely a product of like whether or not what is being read to be being done is whether or not what they're actually doing. So if I think you're doing something and you're not at all, it's going to be a lot easier for you to pick up what's being put down than if I think you're doing something and you're doing exactly that thing.
wait, huh? No, it's gonna be harder.
Uh,
Unless I don't understand what you're saying.
So sorry. Maybe I flipped the easier and harder. But what I'm saying is, okay, all I'm saying whether or not you are doing the thing that somebody's perceiving you to be doing is going to impact how easy it is for you to pick up what they're putting down.
Yeah.
But you can't know what that is. So like you can't communicate in a way to assume that they're not doing what you're doing.
Wait. You can't know what is?
You can't know whether or not they know what they're doing in every given moment.
Mm-hmm.
So you also cannot just communicate in a way that assumes that they don't know what they're doing.
Well, why not?
You just always assume that like what you are interpreting is not what they're like they would not interpret the same thing. Like they wouldn't know what they're doing. It just is totally impractical. Like it would lead to it wouldn't make any sense. Like
I don't.
it's
Well,
not an
no.
option.
No. So I strongly disagree. What are you saying is not an option? Because what if there is a way to communicate? Imagine this, Kurt. There is a way to communicate that covers all cases. If there were a way to, what is the statement you just said?
Yeah.
I believe
So,
that.
okay, so I'm not living in a fantasy world where there's a way to communicate that just covers all cases always. I'm living in the real world where.
Oh, okay. Well then,
there
but what
isn't.
you just said is horseshit. Then I believe, like, it just doesn't.
You think
It doesn't make. No, I'm not saying that. But
then what you're saying is horseshit.
you are saying that you can't communicate assuming that, like, I guess what I'm saying is, oh, sorry, I disagree with what you just communicated. If I'm picking it up correctly, if you want to restate it,
Yeah, I'm saying
sure.
you can't.
But
you
like,
can't just. So okay, when you're talking about being able to communicate whether or not you like or dislike something, you don't always need to be so blunt as to spell out every piece of what they're doing to communicate that you don't like it. And I would say, even in the example that you gave before, where you said, like, I'm not really digging the vibes here, it's very likely that you wouldn't know what's going on if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing, it might be very straightforward.
sure, but they at least understood that you're not having a good time playing.
But that's not.
So.
But okay, I was saying this because you were saying that the effectiveness of it, they need to understand what they're doing wrong, and I'm saying that's not the case.
Wait, what? The effectiveness.
I was critiquing you. I asked you why this is not a good way to go about it. You said it's not effective because they don't know. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it's to the tune of, and I think you can grant me this, hopefully, to the tune of it's not effective because after hearing the that you don't like it in the way that it was expressed, they don't know what they were doing wrong. They were confused. They don't, and that you understood it as a matter of a demonstration of a skill.
Well, you just said that I said something in a certain tune that I'm like, I don't think I believe that.
Okay, you said that it took a particular amount of skill for you to understand what was being criticized. Why did you say that? What is the thing that you said?
Yeah, it was that. Basically, the point I was trying to get to was, I think that So yeah, there aren't silver bullets for communicating effectively, but I do believe there are ways that you can communicate that increase the likelihood in many cases that things will be picked, things that you are trying to put down will be picked up by the recipient. And there are ways that are less effective. That means that in many cases they are less like, that means the case where the person's intentionally being shitty, that means the case where the person has no idea they're being shitty, etc. In many cases,
Yeah, I mean,
these are so
yeah,
okay.
you could overtly just say everything, spell everything out completely, but again, and have the full conversation in the moment. But again, you have to keep in mind the objective of like you're in a moment where you're trying to play a game and stuff, and you are just trying to communicate that you don't like something.
Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is, if you're communicating that you don't like something, we're talking about. I guess what I'm saying is, it took me a lot of me mentioning that, yo, this was like good work on me to try to get to the bottom of this, like, or I think I did a decent job not root causing, but figuring out what was trying to be communicated here after a lot more effort than people generally would put. Sure. I guess me saying that was just like that. If I landed on something good, like if I landed on figuring out what was trying to be communicated, that's great. But that's like not going to be the case often. And this was, I don't think, an instance of communicating effectively. Like that doesn't, like, I guess.
Why was it not a case of communicating effectively?
Because I didn't pick up what you were putting down.
Right.
And then way later I did, but.
Yes. So that's the thing that I was trying to say, was to the tune of, it was to the tune of you saying that they weren't, I forget exactly how I phrased it, but I felt like it was really similar. But okay, you say it wasn't. That's fine. They aren't picking up what you're putting down. Now what I'm saying is how their propensity to pick up what you put down is impacted by the whether or not what they're perceiving to be happening is actually happening. Whether or not they are doing the thing you think you are frustrated by.
Yeah.
Even if I explicitly say, Todd, it's really annoying that you're rolling your R's throughout this entire conversation, you're going to be confused because you haven't been doing that. I mean, it's going to be clear what's frustrating to me, but
yeah.
The thing is, you're not always in a situation where the best way to address a thing is to because okay.
Wait, why wouldn't that be the best way to address that?
Maybe it would be there, but let's say it's a thing where you're doing a thing, but you retain some level of plausible deniability, so you know that directly saying you don't like that thing will end up with them denying they're doing it, and that will also be a way to kill the vibes more. So you want to express that you don't like the thing, but you can't just say it.
I mean, if we watch the clip, we're seeing all this in real time. And you're seeing me just say it. And being totally willing to sacrifice the vibes to say, I don't like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and
it's not fun to me.
That's the thing, is I don't know that was a good way of going about that. I felt like I was being excessively what do you call it?
I get that you feel like you were being demonized or something, right?
Yeah, and I feel like there's just a hypersensitivity to me doing things that are like not particularly like out of the ordinary or terrible. And like so this whole thing is like a situation that's hard and a lot of people are going to try to do it and it feels like I'm trying to be like called out just like in a way that feels um excessive now like excessive in public and it feels like uh it
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you feel that way, but I, I mean, yeah, we haven't really talked about the real world of the clip where I'm like, dude, I was not like my vibe was literally like, I want to play this game with Kurt and Michael. That's a crazy word. And then just like, why would I want to play it when Kurt's just being frustrated with me? And I
yeah
don't
I
know
mean
what I've done to be frustrated with me.
but then that's ultimately just like a misunderstanding.
What's a
Whereas
misunderstanding?
so like if you were doing the thing that I thought you were, then you wouldn't be so confused. Like you'd be in a different headspace. But me misunderstanding the headspace you were in
Yeah, yeah.
makes it differently. But if you were doing what I thought you were, then it wouldn't necessarily have been, uh, you know,
Sure, yeah. And I mean, I wrote that in the doc. I said, like, yeah, I think you're maybe hypersensitive to that sort of thing. So me going, what the fuck is this word would make you like interpret that as one of these things, and you're extra sensitive, and so you're like, oh, you couldn't even read this word or whatever
well,
your
okay,
joke
no, that
was.
okay. So I just
Okay,
said a
sorry.
thing, and you said I included that in the doc. And then I'm like, I think the important part of what I said is not something you summarized, and probably not something you said in the doc, which is that
Oh, okay.
what I did in the clip could have potentially been a valid thing to do, like expression of the thing, if that was actually what you were doing. And so, like, the main
Mm,
problem is that it's just a
I don't
misunderstanding then.
really see it as one though. I mean, like, even if so, that's why we're talking about like the Todd's a shitter example. Because it's like, let's assume that this is a valid thing to want to communicate,
Yeah.
right? Um, I don't see this as an effective way to communicate that. Like, there's got to be some way that's way more effective.
And
Like, if you had said like, Todd, I don't like if you had literally just said like, Todd, if you're gonna bring this energy, I don't know if I want to play with you or something. I would have been like, whoa, what energy? Let's clear the air here, because I was not trying to bring that energy.
yeah, and so I think a difficult thing is also just that like it's like if I were to address everything like that, then we just wouldn't be playing games. If I were offering you an ability to not play games all the time, you just wouldn't have played them. And so like
Okay,
that's kind of a
that doesn't have to be in
complication.
it then. Like, you can think about. I haven't thought about this too much. You
Yeah.
got, but like you could say like, Todd, like, do you really want to play? Is it like, are you having fun playing? If you don't want to,
Well, you
or
already know the answer is no.
I
So you can't say that because it's
no, you're being an idiot right now, Kurt. What the fuck you mean? If you had asked me that in that moment, my answer would not have fucking been no. Why would
okay.
you say that?
I'm talking about if I were to have addressed the things this way throughout our game playing, there would have been plenty of times where you already know the answer is no, and we wouldn't play games because
No,
you
that
having a ready out would just like
what?
be like I
No.
think a lot of your playing the games that you do is a matter of like perseverance and me probably putting more effort in than I should to try to get you to try new things that you don't want to try. And like that context makes it, trickier to, you know, navigate this.
No, dude, I just disagree. Like I mean, yeah, you persevere to get me to try games, but like I if you had said, or like in a lot of instances, if it's not like if you just asked me, are you having fun? Is it yes or no? It's like if you were like, if I'm being like a shitter, I think a lot of this stuff could have corrected for itself. If you get frustrated with me being a shitter and then you communicate that, I'd probably be less of a shitter because I like playing games with you, and it would have been communicated effectively.
I think you're kind of, yeah, I think you're already you're seeing it to like on the other side already. But like you didn't like playing a lot of games, and you wouldn't have continued playing them, I think, if you know if a lot of stuff. I mean,
I mean, there's plenty of games I'm not on the other side with that
right. Yeah, yeah. But that would have happened to probably largely gaming generally if I didn't like kind of try pretty hard to make that happen. Um, and I can't be.
So your theory is that if when I'm being like a shitter, if you had communicated in a way that was like, Todd, I feel like you're being kind of a shitter, or I don't know, something, then I just wouldn't be gaming at all. Is that your theory? Or like, what is it? What is your theory here?
Basically, it's addressing the that it is very difficult to find out what the right way to communicate this is, and you giving a suggestion of, for instance, saying, "Oh, if you don't want to play,
Okay,
you
so
can just not play."
yeah. So
That,
you're saying
then
that
that'll
suggestion.
just that suggestion just doesn't work in a lot of contexts
It
because
doesn't. You don't know that, Kurt. Like there are a lot of games that I've not really enjoyed at first, and if I'm being a shitter, it's like I guess I'm like, damn, I wish you would point that out, because one, this instance wouldn't have happened, because if you had identified that, I'd be like, whoa, what? Let's talk about, what are you talking about? The word's crazy. I'm
but wouldn't
here to have fun. Yeah,
but the thing is, a lot of
but
times you're
but that's
not.
this instance.
You're there to like grit your teeth and this instance. But the thing
But
is, I don't know that even. I didn't even know that you really wanted to play Marvel.
I mean, regardless of how I feel about it, Kurt, regardless of whether or not, like, I mean, okay. Usually if I'm there spending my time doing it, I want to in some capacity, right? Maybe it's just to appease you. But that's not, I mean, it like, I think you're dead wrong here. I think you saying if I like gave you an easy out, you would have been gone and you would hardly be gaming at all is just so off. I think like it's very likely that you communicating in that way could have maybe like, oh yeah, I'm bringing the vibes down for Kurt, and I'm like aware of that. And what you gave this time was not that at all, and actually I feel like was really ineffective.
But again, we don't know if it would have been ineffective if you were doing what I thought you were. Like the effectiveness of this situation isn't really much of an argument against the action because there was such a misunderstanding of what was happening.
We haven't processed that yet, Kurt. We haven't taken that as factor or anything. We haven't talked about it. Was there if you're saying that, only you know it. I don't know if we're operating in that world where we're just were you
Wait, didn't we
is that your
didn't we
read?
say a whole bunch of times that like it doesn't matter whether or not you're actually doing the thing that's being perceived and all this stuff? That implies that something's being perceived that
Huh?
Sorry, what is the thing that you're saying? May I understand?
Okay. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I didn't think, I didn't pick it up. If something was logically implied, I missed it. So you're saying that in this moment, you were under the impression that I was being a shitter.
Yeah, let's say. I mean, like all of this. Let's just say that that's the case. Like I don't like. I can't say for certain in like a lot of these things. It's like not entirely sure. But
Well, then
let's
what are
say.
what did you just? I mean, the only reason we're talking about this right now is because you just said that it was the case, and so I was confused. And so
Yeah, but no, I'm saying let's say in.
That's not what you were saying. You weren't saying let's say. You were saying it is, and that's why we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah, but that's because we've been operating like the whole conversation is a let's say because I don't know exactly what I was like it's at least partially to figure out like what the motivations are behind things like it's not you don't just know everything.
Okay, so let's say you perceived me as being a shitter, and I do believe there should at some point be a conversation with what the fuck did I do? Go rewatch the VOD from an hour ahead of time. What the fuck did I do? But yeah, and just to be like, you are wrong for having that. You're just dead wrong, dude. But we're just saying, okay, it doesn't matter what I did. You picked up that I was being a shitter. Okay. So we're taking that as a fact. And so
we keep saying that.
So
like that's a conversation
I
we
think
can
if
also
you
have,
are under the impression that I was being a shitter, this does not seem like an effective way to communicate that you are not having a good time playing with me as a result of me being a shitter. This doesn't seem effective at all. In the case where I'm kind of obviously being a shitter, or in the case that this is, which I have no idea if I'm being a shitter. I had no idea.
Yeah, I get that you have no idea, but okay, let's talk about the case where it's obvious. So it's ineffective there because it's too indirect, or what is the thing that makes it ineffective?
Because I would not have picked up at all that you were upset with how I was acting. Like what you said was, oh, you wouldn't really understand the word emir, or you'd be like, oh, what is going on? Like that is an extremely indirect way of communicating. It's like,
well, no, I mean, what I was saying, I mean, emir was just an example, but the comment was something like that.
I get
Todd
what
is
you were saying. It was really confusing because it was like this word that's a crazy word.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I'm saying,
and
like,
then the
Todd
example you
gets
gave is like
overwhelmed by.
I get that.
But that, I mean, that's that I would it be crazy to think with that comment that I dislike this state of being overwhelmed by things like this?
I mean, the word overwhelmed was like, that was after I did some digging of trying to understand what you gave.
I don't think it was like. I'm trying to remember exactly how.
I'm going to tell you right now, Kurt. I didn't know what the hell was going on until lots of thinking about it and then writing about it.
Yeah, but I think that's not particularly helpful to, like, I think that fact is kind of not super important.
Okay.
Because there's so much misunderstanding just by the fact that you weren't doing the thing that we're saying I thought you were. Like that's just necessarily going to lead to a lot of confusion.
Yeah. So you communicated what you wanted to communicate very indirectly, which I think increases likelihood of confusion.
But that doesn't make it bad. Like like we agreed.
Ineffective? I believe that increasing the likelihood of confusion decreases the likelihood of effectiveness.
Okay, then the example you gave, which was not perfectly direct enough, also does this. We already agreed that you don't need to be entirely explicit, and the example you gave wasn't. The example you gave in your, not emotional state of mind.
Yeah. So it's like, yo, I'm just like not having a great time playing this with you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's like room. Oh, like how come? Is it like room for progress? Like I could say like, oh, how come? Or if I'm knowingly being a shitter.
Yeah, but then you're gonna like if I'm saying that, I'm gonna say like we shouldn't really go into it now because we're in front of Michael and all this stuff. It's like there's not really room for progress in that moment, any more than there is in this scenario.
There's an opportunity to. No, there is. There totally is. There's like an opportunity to clear up misunderstanding and. Because, I mean, when you say this here, I have no idea.
Yeah, again, though, Todd, we already know that's
okay.
Yeah.
So if you had said that, then I would have had an idea. Like if you had
if I just said I don't really want to play anymore, or like you make me not want to play anymore.
Yeah, if right here you said Todd, you make me not want to play anymore. What do you think I would have done?
Yeah,
Kurt?
I mean that's
run the scenario. Run the scenario.
It's also I guess the problem with that is it's just too hostile, and it's like too direct. It's like that's what's so hard is like you have to balance between being too direct and make it hostile, or less direct and make it less hostile.
Well, wait, you're like ruling that out as this was overly direct. Run the scenario though.
I mean, yeah, I could say, Todd, you're an asshole, and I hate when you do this stuff. And you could be like, hey, I don't really get what's going on. And yeah, that's a thing. But like, again, that's just excessively hostile. And it doesn't accomplish the goal of trying to not kill the vibes.
What you said in the clip is fucking hostile, Kurt. What I propose is less hostile. Why are you giving something more hostile?
I don't think it's that hostile in the clip.
It's not.
I really don't.
Dude,
really, Michael said that he didn't see it that way.
Well, we weren't talking about hostility, but you're saying that.
Wait, no. I think we can conclude that what he said implies that he doesn't see it as hostile in the way that you're saying.
Yeah, but I'm not saying. So hostile compared to what? Hostile compared to what, Kurt? Hostile compared to what?
I'm saying it's not directly hostile in a way that like is gonna make people there, i.e.
hostile
Michael,
compared to okay.
What do you mean compared to what? It doesn't need to be compared. It's not all relativity.
You are the one making it relative, Kurt. You are, because you are comparing what you did in the clip to what I did in the example. In my example, it also was not hostile. In fact, it was less hostile. It wasn't a dig. You called this a dig. A dig is more hostile than.
Okay, what's your example again?
It was. So I mean, It was like Todd's being a shitter, and I go, and I'm you, and I go, okay, like I think I'm not really having a ton of fun playing right now, so I think I'm gonna log off. Or if,
I mean,
or
I think that's also it's not even clear. Like, yeah, it's also indirect, but I think it's especially
yeah, but
indirect.
okay, you're bringing up the asshole one, Kurt, and I'm like, how is it relevant? Sorry, that's what I should say. How is the you're an ass? I could say you're an asshole. How is that relevant? Because I believe that yes, you're demonstrating that if you do something really hostile, that can be really bad. And I'm like, cool. I never proposed to do something
Right,
really
right.
hostile.
You're saying I should say I'm gonna leave, basically.
Or would you mind, like, I'm not having a ton of fun playing with you. Might make sense for us to not play together right now, or something. I mean, I mean, this is I'm all operating under your thing of like you can't communicate it directly. You can't just say, I feel like you're being like the energy you're bringing is not really serving the overall
It's okay.
vibe of this hang right now.
Again, you can, but you are completely changing the course of the. You know what I'm saying? Like it's what you did, right? In the
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it makes Michael go what? It makes right. It is
Mhm,
completely changing the
mhm.
course of the thing, and that is something I was trying to avoid, and often most people do. It's like yes, you can be that direct all the time, but you won't, and nobody will. You'll pick and choose times to do that, and you chose to do it here. But it's
Mhm.
reasonable and common to not. I don't like this premise that like you should just every time something comes up, you ought to just be addressing it in that way and completely like derailing what the situation, what the the moment is.
What do you think I should have done?
That's a good question too, and that's an interesting. That's it's difficult also to. It's also a difficult scenario to be in because it's like there's a big misunderstanding perhaps, and there's it's tricky, but
There's a big misunderstanding perhaps, and I have just you made this joke,
yeah.
which is in itself already hurting the vibes. It's like there's an inability to read the room here going
Well,
on your end.
hold on. The vibes are already hurt, right? Again, we're assuming that you are doing a thing that is vibe hurting, right? And I am frustrated by it, right?
Wait, so we're in Shitter Todd universe now.
Dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why do you keep bringing up that it matters? We're talking about my actions based only on the information
Okay,
I
okay.
have. I
So
can't know
okay,
whether
I
what's
am
real or not. It
okay.
doesn't. You
So yeah,
keep
we are
bringing us
assuming
back to
that.
that.
Okay, yeah. So we
Okay.
are doing I am doing a thing that is making you frustrated and upset.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whether or
And
not that's valid for you to be frustrated
I
and upset.
can't. Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool,
can't.
cool. Okay.
Like it doesn't
Okay, okay.
matter. You can only
Well,
operate under the information you have and can think about.
sure, sure.
Like, okay. We keep. Okay. So,
Yep.
um.
I mean, Kurt, you can
Yeah.
understand why you saying we can assume that you're doing something to make this person upset. There is like, despite logically being like, oh, that upsetness isn't necessarily valid, and maybe nothing they're doing is actually wrong. That phrase in itself is blame is cast, Kurt. Do you understand that?
Sorry. Blame is cast by they're doing something that makes you upset.
All right, person A is doing something that is making. We can assume that person A is. The vibes are already off because person A is doing something that makes person B upset.
Okay.
There is implicit blame being cast on person A, even if that's logically not correct.
Okay. I didn't mean to cast the implicit blame there.
Okay.
And
But that is why I keep going back to it though. The implicit blame is just cast. That's just how it is.
okay, I mean, I disagree. I think
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
like you can only operate under the information you have, and like have the whole time been talking about a scenario where, you know, about my actions based on, right? I mean, like, we could just say, hey, Kurt, you should have interpreted the situation better. You should have just known. But it's like, that's not really a solution.
No,
That's
it's not. It's not. Yeah. That's why we've barely talked about.
well, no, you keep. Yeah,
Keep what?
we haven't talked about the actual like thing, but you keep establishing that we are in this hypothetical where you've done something, and I'm like, it doesn't matter because you can only operate under the information you have.
Okay. Okay. Sure. So. Okay. So I mean, I would. Yeah. Person B. So you are upset. So the vibes are already hurt. Okay.
Yeah, and you feel like you gotta express that in some way, or like it's it's some just that
You
you
are
dislike
upset.
the thing.
And this is true. This is just true.
What's
This is true that you are upset in this scenario. This is like, are we
Um,
taking this as like reality or true?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
We
Okay.
don't need to commit to that. We don't need to not. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Okay. Okay.
And so, uh,
So you are saying that you want to communicate that you're upset.
and or yeah, especially that the thing you did, I don't like at least.
Yeah.
And
Or well, wait. Okay. Was this an attempt to communicate that?
uh,
You're
I
saying at least this would communicate this joke, because we've dissected this a lot. You're saying this joke was an attempt to communicate that you didn't like what I said about the word, and we're talking about effectiveness of communication.
that I don't like. No, we're not just talking about effectiveness of communication.
Oh, okay.
Because we need to talk about whether or not it derails the entire. Like again, you want to, ostensibly based on this conversation,
I see. Yeah.
you want to just derail every situation into a conversation of everything that bothers you in the moment. And I'm saying, okay, that is something that not everyone wants to do all the time. And
well, it also doesn't
argue,
necessarily derail things.
I think that's irrelevant to what I said. I think what I said was not everyone wants to do that all the time, and the thing that you suggested does that. Not that it like necessarily everything, but the example you gave would do that. The situation that you describe, the example you give is one in which we need to turn our playing marvels into Kurt and Todd talk about what's bothering them. And that's something that I was actively trying to avoid. Or like in a situation where I'm frustrated with something, I'm in this situation trying to avoid making the situation we're in into a session of dissecting what I'm frustrated by.
Yeah. I'm more like, I think the session was already pretty compromised. It's like you were frustrated, and so, well, then I got, I obviously was not having a good time. I mean, so you don't want to compromise that.
Well,
like no one's having a good time vibe.
It's not obvious to me that me saying that is going to make you obviously have a bad time.
Yeah.
Like there's a possibility where it's understood why I'm bothered by the thing that I'm bothered by,
Yeah.
and also that
We should at some
Michael
point
is
talk
not
about
bothered.
and all of this, because like I feel like we still have not talked about the validity of you being bothered in this instance.
I don't know why you
I've
keep going back to that. It's not relevant to the important thing we're talking about. We can also have a conversation about that. I've said that many times.
Okay.
But it's not relevant to this piece, and you keep like really.
You keep saying you keep.
I mean, you have to admit that you've brought this up so many times.
Probably like 3.
Okay, so
Maybe 2, honestly.
so okay,
Maybe 2.
Okay, and lots of ways that are indirect, but we don't need to. We're gonna disagree on that. That's fine.
Okay.
So okay, so yeah, you're saying the vibes were already compromised, so we might as well.
Well,
just
no. Okay, I get it. You wanted to keep playing Marvel Rivals, and you were frustrated, but you don't want to
turn it into a
compromise.
section of
You don't want to
dissecting
make a
it.
whole scene.
Yeah, I don't want to
But
turn
you
Marvel
do
Rivals
want
into
to
a section.
communicate something.
Yeah, you want to communicate that you don't like the thing and that you're frustrated by it.
Yeah.
And that's like a
No,
hard
it's crazy to
tightrope
me
to
that
walk.
I've never said any of this is easy, but it's crazy to me that this seems like, this just seems so bad.
I don't think so.
This is a joke that made the vibes worse. Not just my reaction to it. Like, even if I didn't respond a certain way, this joke is not funny. It serves no one, and it's just a dig that brings the vibes down.
Okay. You are okay. I'm sorry. You are attacking, I think, me too much there. We can call it. Okay, let's just not call it a joke anymore because I'm sick of you saying it's a bad joke and it's not funny because I think that's just. It just feels like you're saying it too much, and it feels like
I'm attacking you.
It feels like you're just trying to say more negative things about what I'm doing when it's like, okay, we're already agreeing.
Okay.
Sure, that's not a joke.
Okay,
whatever.
It's not a joke.
It's an expression of disliking something in a way that maybe is a packaged as a like something that could be akin to a joke or whatever you want to call it.
This comment was one that breaks the vibes.
But I disagree, and I would add that Michael, I think if ignored, we could have kept playing the game and it would have been fun. If ignored or if interpreted, as however you want to say it. Like there's a let's see, what is it? There's an air to like like Michael saying what and saying that he doesn't really see it as necessarily me being
Michael saying what in the clip?
Yes, and afterwards he said his interpretation of it was not one of me expressing this like necessarily like rooted thing. It just seemed like a not that different from what he did, he thought.
Yeah.
So like that
but
is
did
me
you
accomplishing
agree or disagree with him?
In terms of what I'm trying to package, that seems like to somebody who isn't in the context, to me that seems like that is not vibe killing in the way that you're saying
real
it
quick,
is.
I mean, I see.
And that's what you're accusing me of.
It
necessarily
doesn't
does
kill the vibes. Okay, yeah. Maybe it's not necessarily vibe killing. Clearly it's not actually, because Michael, that's not what killed the vibes.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of factually not vibe killing for Michael there. Not just not necessarily. It's the instance.
Yeah. Okay.
And then how it's going to affect you is obviously going to be a product of like how it's understood, a product of whether or not you are doing the thing I think you're doing, etc. And I have a certain information to go off in the moment, but yeah, so that Yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with that, but I felt like I don't know. I feel like I expressed some kind of reason why. Yeah, yeah. So ultimately, that's why I don't just want to, So okay. So yeah, me saying that's what it was. It was me saying not wanting to turn Marvel Rivals session into find out what's wrong with Kurt session, find out what Kurt's bothered by session. You saying, hey, it already destroyed the session anyway.
Okay, yeah. Maybe that was not valid because I agree if I had just done nothing or maybe been like confused. I mean, in that instance, yeah, if I've been like,
I need to ask Kurt about this
uh,
later because I'm confused.
well, I was clearly confused. This doesn't feel very actionable to me. I'm like, okay, I was really confused in the moment. I'm like, what? I don't get. What is your? What is so? Uh, and then so I
Well, okay. So
is the
when you say
action
you're
not?
confused, like you already said that you understand, like the joke is that you know
I like
have
anything
some
that's Norse is just like dumbfounds me.
or yeah or whatever. It's
Yeah.
um just that not even anything that's north. It's uh
Sorry. You just said the joke is what? You said the joke is?
yeah no yeah. It's just that yeah there's a Norse word and it's yeah dumbfounds you or whatever. Um,
Okay. You lost her. I don't. Or I thought
uh,
you were
I don't
saying
remember what
something.
else I was saying, but yeah, we said that yeah we can't just derail it via um,
Yeah. I maybe just big turn of topic. I wish I could go back in time and react differently. But I think the main thing I would react differently with is not just not being as emotional in the moment. And instead of saying you're in asshole mode, um, being like, yeah, I'm actually not really having much fun playing now. So I feel like you're not really being nice to me. So I'm gonna go. I think I would have rather said that. Um, but I think that what a lot of people would do is just kind of attack back, and then it's just you attack, I attack, you attack, I attack, and I just don't want to do that anymore. And um, I think
I don't think so.
like
I mean
I just
I think a
mhm.
similar thing like I think when we played Mario Party I felt like I was attacked for like nothing and I felt like it was a similar like I feel like I did basically just I was just basically like all right I'm on Todd's last nerve in general and I'm just going to try to like not kill the vibes for the other people around was my whole thing. But I guess I felt more like I wasn't as much confused, I guess, is kind of a big difference because I felt like I did understand what was going on. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so that probably changes things a bit.
yeah. I think here in this instance, um, and honestly, I mean, I don't know what sort of memory you have. I mean, yeah, I don't know what I did to trigger you being annoyed with me or frustrated with me. Um, and then seeing that frustration, I mean, I guess so, So in the moment, I just wasn't really thinking about it. And then
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, suddenly Michael makes this funny joke and Kurt's just, to me, being mean. And I'm like, what? We're playing Marvel Rivals. Why are you being mean to me?
Right. Yeah. I
Playing
mean,
like a casual
that's
game.
I felt like it's a pretty apt analogy to how I handled what I felt like you just being mean to me when we were trying to play Mario Party. And again, the way I handled it was like super different. I was very actively trying to avoid what I felt like was you kind of relentlessly attacking me. And I
I
was
feel like
like,
it was
I'm
fairly
trying to not.
similar. It was like
No, I wasn't.
ultimately you were like, just don't interact with me. Just
No,
don't.
no.
I'm not talking about this.
I did. No, no, no. It's not similar at all. You are like questioning why I'm acting the way I'm acting. I didn't do that even remotely. I was entirely like, okay, in my, I'm like, I know what's happening, and I
Dude,
need
you
to.
don't know what was happening though. That we just the thing is we just so strongly disagree about that instance that like
Yeah, but
I don't
what?
and
No,
it's
no.
not recorded. So
But
I don't think
I'm not saying that me knowing what's happening is what I'm
you were very
saying.
confident in your understanding of the situation. You
Yeah,
were
I'm
self-confident.
thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's what's happening. And like to you say for you to say that my reaction to you there is the same as this one here is to
Okay.
me like totally off the mark
Okay.
because of
Well, I guess
this.
there are some similarities, but
You, I think, are doing something that very much impacts the like situation, and I think I am pretty clearly actively trying to avoid doing that exact thing. And me thinking I need to interact with you less is an action that is trying to do that exact thing because I believe that me interacting with you, like that I'm on your last nerve in general, and that me interacting with you just runs the risk of you getting more frustrated in general. And so like that's my like course of action to try to salvage the vibes.
mhm.
It feels totally at odds with what you are doing in this.
So, okay, so yeah, so I can agree there. I think there are lots of similarities, right? Like you felt like you were just being attacked. How do you think I felt here, Kurt? Like I was just being attacked.
Well, no, but I'm saying we're
you
saying the
couldn't.
similarity of my reaction. You're saying our reactions are similar. You're saying we handled them similarly, and I'm saying I think that's totally off the mark. But that's fine. It's you know.
Yeah. Maybe we didn't handle them similarly. I also think they're very different situations. So
Well,
unsurprising that they weren't handled too similarly.
okay.
And
Well, hold
I don't
on.
think there's
Then
much
let's.
of a reason to get into it. Is there? What's the point of getting into it?
Because
What's the point of bringing up the non-recorded one?
wait. So are we not agreeing that in both scenarios we are reacting to what feels like an unjust attack of each other? Like, why are these totally different? I guess we don't need an example. I'm just saying I would have handled the situation very differently from the way you did. I would be and I was just giving that as an example of me doing it. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm I'm not just hypothetically saying, "Oh, I would have done it in a way that would have been less, impactful in this and that." I believe that that's an example of me doing that. I think it's clear from my actions there that is what I would
they
try
are
to
handled
do.
differently. They are handled differently.
No. I think it's clear from my actions there that if I were in the situation you were in here, I would handle it differently.
Okay.
Is that? Do you have anything?
Yeah, that sounds. Is that
Do you agree
significant?
that? Uh,
Like if he were to say, Todd, I would have handled this the same as you. I would have been like, what? I feel
you just said we
shocked.
did handle it the same a second ago.
Yeah, I took that back. But
Yeah, but
I'm what I was trying to say was I think the two situations aren't so dissimilar. I don't know. But what is I already took that back, so I guess you're saying
but now you're saying
if you were in my shoes here, you would handle it differently.
you're saying
And there's
now
this example to
not,
draw from. And
not,
what I'm saying is, okay, what is that relevant to? That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
What is that relevant to?
but you taking it back. Okay, hold on. I can't just let you sidestep this. It's you took it back, but you're saying, okay, I take it back. I'm going from those two different situations are kind of the same to if you were to say that I would handle this situation similarly, I'd be really confused by it. And I'm like, I think that's not fair.
Hmm? Well, I think the two situations are similar in certain ways and different in other ways, and
I'm saying, okay.
It's what am I doing that's unfair?
It's not important.
I didn't think so. What?
Okay,
So,
I mean, like,
okay.
in the grand scheme
okay.
of things, it is.
I mean,
but
no.
it's not worth the
Real
effort.
quick.
There's other things.
Okay, so you were saying that you would have handled this situation differently. Is that doesn't
In a way
talk-
that preserves the desire to not, kill the vibe or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And so we just have different goals here because you
No,
don't
well, no,
feel
it's
like
all
preserving
it's
that.
all no, it's nothing. It's not a binary. It's not like, oh, Kurt's the vibe preserver and Todd's the vibe killer. It all is variant and it's all a spectrum and it all depends on what's happened.
Yeah, I'm saying in the instance of Marvel Rivals, that was a case where I
You
was
believe
trying
that
to
you
preserve.
would have tried. You were trying to preserve the vibe.
Yeah, and you didn't have a desire to do that.
Well, but what was done to you is different than what was done to me.
Right, but if
someone came and punched me in the that is
yeah,
relevant, Kurt.
Okay, so okay, but what I'm also saying is that if I were in the position that you were in, I would have addressed it in a way to try to preserve the vibes more.
I believe that I am a person who cares about the vibes and cares about preserving them.
Okay, I'm not saying you're not.
You are not able to put yourself in my shoes and feel what it is like.
Okay, what
for the
do you think is the piece that makes the Mario Party so different that I want to preserve the vibes?
I don't want to talk about the Mario Party.
Okay, so we can't say that I would have tried to preserve the vibes in the Marvel instance. We just can't say that.
Wait,
and we have no example.
Can't you just say that you think you would have?
Well,
I mean, there are some times where I try to preserve the vibes and some times where I don't. I don't even necessarily, and it has to do with a lot of variables.
Yeah, of course, and for both of us. But what I'm saying is, like, clearly our goals, in the Marvel instance would be different there because you weren't. What
is the point you're trying to make? You're trying to make the point that our goals would be different if we were in switched positions?
But honestly, I can't remember. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I reacted the way I did because I was like, damn, I feel like Kurt's being mean to me, and the only reason I'm playing this casual game with Kurt and Michael is to just kind of like hang out and have fun. Like, it's one thing if we get like snappy at each other in a competitive game. Me and Michael can play pickleball and get snappy at each other, right? And like have the emotions of competition and all that. But with Marvel Rivals, I'm like, wait, why is,
Right, but
I don't know. I disagree with. Sorry, what?
Yeah, but it's like it's ultimately this we're saying frustration with you, like not giving a fair chance to new things, kind of in general, and being overly critical and like
Yeah. Actually, I mean, maybe there is some validity to you feeling that way, because although it's interesting, because I remember at least the sentiment that I was trying to communicate was like, it hasn't grabbed me like the finals has, but like, let's run it, or like.
mhm.
And then you launch into the explanation of how I just don't understand whatever you launch into it. You did it at the beginning of this call. You do it often. And then I don't know. I feel like you got yourself worked up here. Yeah, I did say like, but I did. So I'm actually just remembering this now because I haven't rewatched that. I did say like it hasn't really grabbed me the way that the finals did. So maybe that's
I mean,
where
the finals.
the
Wait, the
frustration came
finals. I'm
from.
trying to think, like, because I don't think of the finals as even a game that really grabbed you. We
Oh,
only
well, then
played it
you're
for like.
busted then. Then your perception's all warped, dude.
Yeah? How many hours do you have in the finals? Like, I'm like, how much did you even play that game?
Fucking okay, well then your perception's busted if it's just number of hours, dude. I'm saying out the gate, I was like, this is fun as fuck, and I played it. And
Oh,
then
I
my
see, I
computer
see.
died and I stopped.
Right, yeah. Okay,
But I'm not
okay.
like, fuck, dude. I'm saying I enjoyed the game and it hooked me in. Don't doubt that because I don't have many hours in it, dude. The fuck?
What? Well, I mean, um,
It grabbed me. That if you're saying no, it didn't, okay, your perception's busted. I'm saying personally, I felt like it grabbed me.
yeah, I could just misremember it without you having to say I'm so busted and fuck, dude. Like I misremembered it. My bad.
Well, even if you're not like, do you think I'm lying when I say that, or like I'm misremembering my own emotions? The emotion
But
is,
you're
whoa,
saying,
this game seems
sorry,
cool
sorry,
right out the
sorry.
gate.
You're asking if me saying I misremembered it is me saying that you're lying? I'm sorry, I'm not.
No, when you say, did it even grab you? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not like making this up. I'm remembering the emotion of right out the gate feeling like this is fun and sick and wanting to play it.
And me saying I remembered that, or I misremembered that as being different is me saying that you're lying?
I mean, you're doubting what you clearly doubted.
Because I remembered it differently. But like I could just be wrong about how I remembered it. That's why I'm saying I misremembered it. Is that's
Okay. Okay. I mean, I guess it's like you also could just think like, oh, it didn't grab you because you only had, I don't know, 25 hours
yeah,
or whatever, right? But like
it's
I'm like, okay, like this is subjective and I'm saying it did.
well, I forgot that you stopped because your computer was busted. I said that immediately
Well,
when you
yeah, but
said it.
also
And
it doesn't, I mean, when a game grabs me, it looks really different than when one grabs you, Kurt. Like,
yeah, but I'm also, it's a, I can uh I can investigate a little bit if I remember something differently without you being like, geez,
okay.
fuck, what do you mean? Like, what do you, fuck, dude? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like a
Okay.
tiny bit of investigation there wasn't pressing too hard, but your response to me seemed like it was. Um,
Okay. Well, uh, yeah, I'll take that. That makes sense. Um, uh, I think maybe I'm just like so much of what I say gets challenged that when I'm just like pulling out this feeling that I had, and you're like, did you even feel that way? I'm like, shut the fuck up. But I think that's my problem. I need to not
Do you feel like
react.
a lot of things that you say get challenged that much? I feel like I grant so much.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misdiagnosing why I had that reaction right there. Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
So, anyway, I guess the reason why I brought that up is because I'm like, you know, I did say that, right? I did say, this hasn't really, and I almost want to go back and look at how I said it, right? Because at this point, I'm like, actually, was I being a shitter? I think in hindsight, I was like, hasn't really grabbed me like the finals has. But I think I said that while I was booting it up. So it's like, I'm going to play it. I don't know. Maybe that's me being a shitter. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
know. To me, it feels like just talking with a couple friends.
Yeah,
I can say that to anyone.
To be clear, I didn't say that was you being a shitter or anything like that.
I know, yeah. I'm just. But from there, you launch into the thing, which I don't know if you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but
I feel like me hearing you say that, the first thing I think is what I probably was trying to say, which is just that, like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to be grabbed by many games at all. And
yeah,
to me, I feel like I didn't really like launch into that much. I thought that you pretty much just agreed with me, and that there wasn't really a launch.
Pretty much did.
Like
yeah.
I don't know why you're calling it
I'm like,
launching into something crazy.
Well,
like
I just the thing is because you just launch into it and you start talking about it, and that's what you did at the beginning of this call. It's the same. I feel like I've heard you say these exact. It's like bar for bar at least 5 times in the past 3 months. That's what I'm saying. Launching. Oh, you're having this conversation again.
Oh, just that I'm pointing out. But the thing is, it's not a conversation. It's me just pointing out the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
to me, over and over again.
But when it's relevant, it's not like I brought it up.
Sure, it's not a conversation.
Yeah, it's also not like I brought it up. It's like me saying like, oh yeah, I don't really like these tomatoes, and you pointing out or I don't really like this thing, and you saying, well, there's a ton of tomatoes in it. You don't really like tomatoes, and me be like, you're always bringing up that I like tomatoes. It's like, well, no, I it's like very straightforward why it would have gotten brought up there. It's very sensible. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm beating you over the head.
I just wouldn't though. Like if you were like, I don't really like those tomatoes, I wouldn't be like, well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I wouldn't launch into the thing. I'd be like,
yeah. I guess
really
I guess if it were the case that I didn't like food in general, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really like this food, it'd be like, yeah, you don't really like food generally. But yeah, it's kind of a hard analogy because you don't really like food.
Yeah.
You don't like food, but
like
you get the,
yeah, and I don't really like but I mean, I gave an example of one that I did like, the finals.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm saying grabbed me initially.
Right? Yeah. Sure. That's
saying it didn't grab me. League hasn't grabbed me.
Yeah,
this game hasn't really grabbed me. Overwatch didn't grab me. The finals grabbed me. That's all I was saying. That's what I was saying.
I would say, yeah, and that's because games tend to not. In fact, it's extremely rare exception if they do. Yeah. And so yeah, that feels, especially like with Michael there and stuff, like it feels like a, I don't know, just a relevant thing to know. Like it feels like a natural response. So like yeah, that to me also feels like you being, without me even knowing it at the time, but like you being kind of more sensitive to this thing that just feels like totally natural to do.
Well, I mean, I wasn't.
And something that I think that like if anyone else were to do like the same thing, it wouldn't bother you at all. You wouldn't think they're launching into something. You wouldn't, it'd just be like, oh, this thing's come up a couple times, and it wouldn't matter, and you wouldn't care.
I'm like, how long were you talking? It was like over a minute. That's what I was just saying. Most people would not do what you did in this clip.
Wait,
Like
wait,
not
don't
the
wait,
clip,
hold on.
but
Okay,
before the clip.
don't evaluate the clip now, right? Like, I think the important thing is like what we think about it. It's not like
Well,
the
yeah, but you're
fact
saying,
is,
oh, I'm like hypersensitive because I just did what a normal person. If anyone else did this, but like no one else would
tell me,
do this.
were you looking in the clip while I was talking to you?
No, I
Okay,
just
okay,
jumped in.
okay. Um,
But like I'm like
what do you
after
mean?
you I'm just like I feel like you were talking for so long. I haven't actually watched the clip,
Okay,
that
okay.
part
So
of the clip.
you haven't been trying to find the clip.
I just like for 5 seconds did, but it was like after you were talking.
Okay. So so the way we remember it now is that you feel like I kind of go
I
on
guess
kind of a rant.
yes, and that's why I said launch into the thing. And I think I would say this person launched into a thing when I feel like they go into a rant.
Well, that's what I mean. Earlier, I was saying like I don't get why you're saying launch into a thing and stuff, and you weren't really explaining it. So okay, so you're saying that okay, I've excessively explained that you don't really like you're very
From
slow
what
to
I
warm
remember,
up
yeah, it
things.
was like from what I remember, it was that idea for like a minute straight.
Hey, I'll add. So I think that's like
Which sorry, real quick, I
yeah.
think you were like working yourself up here.
Hmm.
Like you like started talking about this a bunch, and I think you're working yourself up.
Hmm.
Like you talking about it is getting yourself frustrated
Hmm.
because it's just you're just stating your beliefs and I'm not even disagreeing with them, but they're beliefs that frustrate you and you're working yourself up
Hmm.
over this
I see.
minute monologue, and then I don't know, I feel like and then I'm just like, yeah, I don't disagree. I feel like you worked yourself up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall being worked up at all about that.
Huh?
I don't recall being worked up at all about that.
Okay. Okay. Well then, honestly, yeah, me bringing up like you also maybe weren't worked up about me saying, it hasn't grabbed me like the finals have. Maybe that didn't like work you up.
I don't remember that being bothering me either because that's what I would expect. I'm like, there's no universe where Todd's like. I,
Grabbed by this game as much
I
as the
didn't
finals,
I
or
didn't think that you wanted to play Marvel Rivals.
okay, yeah. So it didn't work you up. Okay. Well, but I think it can't. I mean, I think it could work you up. Like if I was just like, oh, I don't want to play this stupid game. I'd rather be playing the finals. That one grabbed me, and then it'd be like, if I'm bringing negative energy, that can get you frustrated. So like, I think it could have been interpreted as me bringing negative energy,
Gotcha.
even
Yeah,
despite it not being
it
surprising,
wouldn't have
right?
yeah, it wasn't.
Okay,
I didn't
cool.
see it
Okay,
as
that's great. That's great.
yeah.
Um, huh. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's my. Damn, that's tough then, because I was like, actually, maybe I did do something here, kind of being a shitter. I did say like, it didn't really pull me in as much as the finals, right? Maybe that's what.
This is the thing, yeah, I don't feel like that's the case. And like I don't think that is being a shitter and I don't think that
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think I really saw it that way.
What about the text thing?
Um yeah, I'd say probably it's like I think it was largely tone and it's like because it's not just you like not it's you being uh let's see. And not with the text specifically, but like you getting what feels like very easily frustrated
Mm-hmm.
by things that are like you know
I
like
get
I,
it,
I
and I
put
I get the tone of me saying that, and it being read as that tone.
mm,
But the I think there's like a mishit going on, right? Because I think I would have used that tone if we were playing Halo Infinite in the peak or anything, right? What I said there was not at all informed about how much or little I liked playing the game. It had nothing like me
Yeah.
being like, "What the fuck is this word?" was just looking at a completely out of any context, crazy ass word.
But sorry. So I'm just making sure if I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that you understand it being misread as that though?
Yes. With the kind of like like I don't think that would have happened to Michael though. It's the hypersensitivity and the history of me being a shitter.
Yeah, yeah. It's more the history than the hypersensitivity, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just say history instead of hypersensitivity, kind of from now
Yeah.
on. I'm hypersensitive.
Well,
It's just history.
Well, I think it depends. I think it varies from like thing to thing.
Sure. I'll just say history. That's just right, no matter what. So, given the history, I could see how it could be like that. But it's like an incorrect read.
Yeah. And if it
And as a
were,
result, I'm like getting digs. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, and getting confused and stuff, right? I mean, that's a misinterpretation that's will often lead to things going awry. But
Wait,
but
sorry. What is a what?
so if I'm misunderstanding what's happening, then I'm misinterpreting what's going on, and a misinterpretation like that is going to lead to things going awry. Or it can't.
It can, but I think there are ways that you can handle. I think there are ways that you can handle things that would decrease the likelihood of things going awry. I don't really think we're gonna make any headway on this. I think that like generally, I I I'm not going to look at what I did here when I was like, wait, I'm not having a good time playing this game anymore because Kurt's just being a dick to me and being like, Kurt, I think you're being an asshole. I don't want to play anymore.
Okay, so here's something I think we can be careful.
I don't.
Here's something I haven't said. Is that so? Like, this is, and this ropes in the apology and stuff as well, which is that like, again, I think like we both know that there are ways to express I don't like something that you won't interpret as me being an asshole, and I think that I didn't expect you to think this was an asshole thing, and I think that the context is a big part of what makes it an asshole thing. And so that's why I thought like, okay, I think you are more sensitive to me saying this sort of thing than I thought. So I need to like not do it that way.
Whoa, that'd be awesome. We should. Oh damn.
But that's what I said in the apology, or that's that's what I said. I said you are more sensitive to this kind of thing than I thought. That's like basically exactly what I'm saying. But at that time, you call it insincere.
Well, it's also just. Maybe I misinterpreted what you were saying, and what I picked up was you. I mean, largely because of tone. And I don't know. I mean, when Vanessa was watching the clip, she was like, I paused after you said I'm sorry, and then heard the I'm sorry. I was like, oh, that was.
Yeah, I understand why somebody from the outside who doesn't have any context wouldn't get it. I understand why somebody on the outside without any context would not view it as,
a sincere apology.
Like would not have any context for it, like it's not. Yeah.
I get what you're saying there, but
for somebody who is, sees a paused clip and is expecting an apology that is like totally uh, really simple and has no context outside of. Anyway, I don't take away much from the Vanessa thing that you're saying. Is what I'm getting
okay,
at.
okay, um, yeah, I guess the apology felt. I guess one fact is that to me it felt like a non-apology. I also um it like uh it just felt like more aggression. That's just like, you know, any kindergartner would say that that tone was aggressive. I don't know. The tone was not. The tone you use when you're sincerely apologizing is not aggressive like
Any
yours was,
kindergartner,
Kurt.
but
How
not.
can I?
But you say any kindergartner would have come away with that. We have Michael saying that afterwards he said it sounded kind of resolved and that was fine. I think I just disagree with you on that. And I think
I
you are
mean,
overly confident in general across the board here.
that's maybe true here. I guess I keep getting like, dude, there's no way
Yeah.
someone could hear this apology.
I think you do. Yeah, I think you are very. I think.
Yeah, I think right here, I thought about too much what it felt like to receive that apology and was like, it can't be. And had Vanessa there being like, that was not an apology. But yeah, Michael apparently walked away being like, no, Kurt apologized. So, you know. But I feel like your tone was pretty aggressive in that apology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that's how you felt, and that's obviously I did a bad job. I mean, I wanted to emphasize that, like, the apology is for, I shouldn't say this thing because I think you are more sensitive to it than I thought you'd be, which does imply, like, that being less sensitive to it is a reasonable state to be in and one that I expected. Like, it's like I wanted to provide
Yeah.
that context because I didn't want to
It
be
doesn't
ambiguous about.
imply that it's being less is a reasonable state to be in.
No, I
Why would
guess
it imply that?
okay. I guess it doesn't factually imply that piece. Yeah, that's a piece that I added. Um, but
Well, yeah, that's important though.
is it?
That's part
So,
of why I
okay.
feel
So
like it's an attack.
are we particularly worried about me thinking that you being less sensitive would have been a reasonable a an unreasonable state? Like, is that a part of this that is like important here?
Well, I'm Kurt, chill for a sec. Like,
Okay.
take a breath. Take a breath.
No, I'm not
Take
frustrated
a
right
breath.
now. I'm,
What?
what do you
How
mean?
are you
I'm
talking like you are?
no. I'm genuinely like because it feels like
The tone and the way that you are talking is not of one is someone who's just trying to figure out what the truth is. They're like, oh, is that like you're like, is that a way that like that's how you're talking, Kurt?
I
You know what I'm
actually I
saying?
actually just need to see my own tone here. I said is not. I actually just need to check. I'm like I'm shattered. And I genuinely believe that I'm going to watch this and I'm going to think Todd is just hypersensitive to me as a person, which is the conclusion I'm already at. But
And probably I think
sensitive to me.
take a breath.
Probably fucking
Take a Sammy too.
being okay. I guess it
It's everyone
doesn't
is
factually
hypersensitive. Everyone is
imply
close to you
that
is
piece.
hypersensitive to
Yeah,
you. It's them.
that's a piece
Totally.
that I added. But
Well, yeah, that's important though.
is it?
That's part
So,
of why
so, okay,
I feel
so
like
are
it's an
we
attack.
are we particularly worried about me thinking that you being less sensitive would have been a reasonable an unreasonable state? Like, is that a part of this that is like important here?
Well,
My tone sounds so good to me. It's crazy. I feel like given what I am trying to say,
wait, I'm gonna re-listen to it real quick.
I can make a clip for you.
Yeah, send me a clip.
I feel like it sounds being.
An attack.
Are we particularly worried about me thinking?
Well, yeah,
But
Well, yeah, that's important though.
is it?
That's part
So-
of why
so, okay,
I feel
so
like
are
it's an
we-
attack.
Are we particularly worried about me thinking that being less sensitive? Okay, I'm sending on Facebook, and I included your own what I am replying to, so you can hear your own tone as well in the context. Like I feel like your tone,
Maybe
if
you're right
anything,
here. Maybe
is
you're right
more.
here. Actually, my tone
But-
sounds pretty. Well, yeah, that's important.
Your tone sounds what?
Pretty bad.
Yeah. And I have to reply to it, and then I'm being told to take a breath and calm down repeatedly when you are sounding like this. And it's like, that's hard. It is hard to have a conversation that goes like that. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it's like somebody's like yelling at you to calm down.
Yeah.
um
That makes sense. Wow. Yeah. I feel wrong about that for sure, and that's pretty big, I think.
It's okay. um, yeah. So okay. So yeah. So ultimately, this feels like another. It feels like I get that you are hypersensitive to me as a person. And this is something I've felt for obviously like
Yeah.
tens of
Yeah.
years, or maybe
Yeah.
not tens of years, but yeah, it's a very long time. So that's why it's a checkmate scenario, right? I can't just tell you that you're interpreting me in a way that makes you frustrated. So I try to like, okay, I need to like give you space, or I need to like
Yeah.
interact less, and that's what I was trying to do like with Mario Party. I know you don't want to bring it up, but that's what I felt like in the scenario, and that's what yeah. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I could see me generally being pretty hypersensitive. Right there, it's like I like feel like I like was interpreting. I think another thing was seeing your face when you were talking, because I watched the VOD with the video
oh yeah.
versus not having your face. I don't know, maybe that played a part of it, but um
I was worried if
yeah,
anything, seeing
I
my
think
face
that
would make me
at least
look more aggressive. But really, I'm just kind of overwhelmed. I don't know the right way to phrase it, but
Yeah.
it's like my experience there was feeling like I handled that pretty well, and then for it to be interpreted as I handled
literally
it
like
so
you are
poorly.
actively handling this poorly.
Yeah.
Like, listen to yourself and then look at the recording.
Yeah,
It's like, wow.
I'm handling it so poorly that you need to like call that out
Stop.
as a
Yeah.
we need to pause what we're talking about to address how badly I'm handling it. Was like that is a I think
that was a micro instance of maybe a bigger pattern.
Yeah.
Mm.
I appreciate you seeing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if sending the clip if it would not go that way, but that's how it felt in the moment.
Okay, well, aside from that, which that I will say was a unique experience, being like feeling a certain thing and then running the tapes and being like, wait a minute, maybe like I think I'm just wrong. Not like I'm wrong here, but like I mean, yes, I believe I was wrong here, but more so like the thing I was experiencing was like in I was misinterpreting reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like maybe I was emotional and so I don't know. It was just a unique experience because it was like, wait, I had this
Yeah.
experience 1 minute ago where this thing felt this way, and then I saw it right on tapes, and it actually just was not that way.
Yeah, that's like super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Yeah,
yeah, a really interesting one to experience. 'Cause, yeah, that's
yeah.
super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because yeah, it was it was so off the mark that I was like, I haven't this whole conversation done this, but I was like, I just have to run that back. I like
Yeah.
have to pause everything to do that because I was like, there's no way, right? you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now I am kind of viewing things through a different lens. And while like there's maybe some value in what we've been talking about for the past X hours, um I think like yeah, you did a dig here, but and even if I don't agree with that, and I guess we can't call it a hypersensitivity, but you have some history, we have some history that makes it so that if I say, what the fuck is this word, then you'll kind of read it a certain way that wasn't really intended to be at all, and then maybe you'll make it dig at me maybe also another thing at play here is my hypersensitivity. And like you saying that thing, that joke, or sorry, the comment.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, maybe shouldn't have impacted me so much. Um, although I think generally, if I'm impacted by something, so you were impacted by something I did and kind of dug at me. And I was impacted by the dig and chose to disengage.
I don't know if I call it disengage.
Well, okay, yeah, actually,
If I,
yeah, I guess disengaging maybe looks like just being like, oh, I'm leaving or something, right?
or yeah, yeah. Or maybe this wouldn't be disengaging, but kind of moving past it more.
Mm, people, okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't move past it. Um, but I guess, I mean, and you didn't move past your thing, right?
Well, that's good. Immediately when I said it, I was being questioned on it in a way that made me like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to explain this more than I intended. This was meant to not be a whole thing. I'm trying to, you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah. But yeah, I don't know what we mean by move past it, but you were frustrated, but instead of like bottling it up or moving past it or whatever, you like dug at me, right?
Okay. I mean, it depends. Like yeah. I commented on it, yes, but um,
Commented on.
the thing I
Well,
was frustrated about.
no, you didn't. or you made a comment.
Yeah, a comment that addressed the source of the thing that ultimately would have frustrated me, which is, you ultimately, it's regarding the word. Like, it's like in the vicinity enough to be,
Okay. I mean, yeah, uh, you attempted to communicate it.
hmm
Okay. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess my overall takeaway is I think I need to be less hypersensitive about stuff, for sure. Um, I think that when Sammy comes in and says, "Dude, you are condescending sometimes,"
hmm
like, and right here, the vibe I believe is pretty condescending, and I know that I guess after a bit of thinking about it, and I would have never gotten this in the present moment, but I was kind of like, I think there's something else going on. I need to like kind of try to read what is being communicated here. And it was days later that I was like, I think this is what was going on.
hmm
And I think that, I don't know, you could choose to not communicate or you could choose to communicate. But something like this, I just don't see how productive it is. At least in this instance, I didn't see it as being particularly productive, regardless of the results. Like, yeah, the results were me being like, I'm over this, I'm leaving, right?
When you say
So
regardless
obviously,
of result, do you mean
regardless of
like,
what actually happened.
yeah, but does that ultimately mean you're saying you don't really see how it could be productive?
Uh, I don't really see how you making this joke would have resulted in it, yeah, it being productive.
Got it. Got it.
I mean, I guess maybe it's like, oh, maybe you were frustrated, but making that joke let out enough steam so that you could move on. Okay. But I
I mean, I think the
don't know
the
if,
way that it
I
could
guess,
have been productive would have been if it were interpreted as like, not liking the thing you were doing.
in the present moment?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're not just talking productive, you know, short term. It could be productive long term. But either way, uh, that you've done a
Oh,
thing and it was poorly received, and then as a response, someone did a thing that, like, if it were to communicate to you that they didn't like that thing, that would be productive.
yeah, yeah.
And so
But people,
maybe,
I guess, yeah, yeah. It is by definition productive, but like, I feel like sometimes people say unproductive, um, when they mean like not one of the more productive ways of doing something. You know
oh,
what I
I
mean?
see, I see. Yeah. I mean,
I
yeah,
get,
yeah.
like there's plenty of instances of like someone communicating something they're bothered by in a really unproductive way.
hmm
Like we don't even need to come up with an example.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And this to me does feel a bit like that. Like, well, you're communicating something you're bothered by in a pretty unproductive way, I feel like. I mean, this is like really not even, this is so indirect that it's like, I'm still proud of myself for getting kind of to the bottom of it, you know? That took a bit of empathy, I think. Um, uh, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe. I mean,
Like
cause
Michael was just like, this is just another joke.
right. But
So it went undetected
you
there.
clearly even immediately in the moment. I mean, that's why you replied to it, right?
Hmm.
You clearly saw it as a dig in a way that
Hmm.
you thought was worth addressing. I don't know if I'd agree with that necessarily, but so clearly, even though it goes undetected from Michael, it is still an expression that to you is like I'm being, you know, maybe this is the wrong word, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Like attacked about um, about this thing, and then that could, you know, lead you to why am I being attacked about this thing, and um, I don't know exactly, but it's like
About what thing?
about the Nordic word or whatever Norse word.
Okay, yeah. So I'm
Um,
being attacked. Yeah, and then it's like, well, why am I being so why am I being attacked by that thing? And then digging deeper and being like, oh, maybe me reading this in this tone.
For instance, okay, yeah. As a hypothetical, if instead of being frustrated with video games and all this stuff, if it were specifically a Todd is always being flustered or being like, what the fuck is going on about Norse words, and there were a long-standing pattern of that, I think there
Hmm.
wouldn't be nearly as much confusion by you know this as
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
yeah, so it's that the proximity to the thing of frustration is outside of what is as easily uh, I don't know easy to like make the connection to. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to make the connection.
mm, yeah, but so this is something I was thinking earlier is maybe not exactly this way, but it's something along the lines of like there is an air to like trying to avoid derailing the playing the game
Hmm.
and erring to the side of being unclear, just as a matter of, um,
Okay.
you gotta err if you're erring one direction or the other. It is better to you know not address that
So
in the
yeah,
moment as
yeah.
directly.
Okay. Yeah, like yeah. Like I'm not gonna. Okay, Todd just did something that bothered me, and I'm going to try to signal to him that it is bothering me in a way that does not throw off the vibe. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what was
and
going on.
and and not even necessarily just throwing off the vibe, but like I guess the specific way in which throwing off the vibe would occur that I'm trying to avoid is like turning it into find out what's bothering Kurt session. Because throwing off the vibe's a little vague because like naturally me digging at you changes the vibe, but specifically,
Yeah.
one way in which I am definitely trying to avoid it is, you know, having an old married couple talk with a counselor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So, yeah, I guess. Damn, I guess you think nothing wrong was there. That's
No, no,
interesting.
I apologize for the thing that I thought was wrong. I
Which was what?
which is that I shouldn't have done it that way, given the like level of sensitivity you have to me, saying digging at your intelligence in that way, or however I said it, in the video. But like, right? It's like it was it was a dig that was one that like you were more sensitive to than I expected.
Hmm.
Um,
What what is that way or what? That's confusing to me. I'm like, wait, yeah, like don't insult my ability to read Norse words or
no, I think kind of no, because you were saying so much that the Todd is stupid is like a joke
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing that I do too
Yeah.
much, and I'm like, okay, I didn't realize that was like a as much of a thing that
Mm.
you had as much of a sensitivity
Yeah.
to.
I
Yeah,
mean, I think at the beginning of the call, Sammy was like, yeah, and kind of was like, you do this.
Sammy, you know, so some context there is that like Sammy is a person who like I it is some things she does are very frustrating from a like why don't
Yeah.
you understand this perspective in a way that I
Okay,
think
yeah.
is really valid. Um,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I guess, yeah, I do feel like there is a pattern of, I mean, I don't know if, I think in the clip, you're like, kind of like, I'm not just, I don't know. I mean, the joke was like, haha, Todd's stupid. It's hard to explain, but it is this mode where you kind of like say something that's like a dig and then just kind of laugh to yourself. Um, and it happens a lot, and it's a bad vibe, I
Yeah,
guess.
maybe it's a bad way to
But
express like frustration with something. Um,
yeah,
the
I
but the right way to do it is also hard to even just in a non emotional moment, hard to even just find one.
yeah,
I think it is.
yeah,
This is a difficult moment to and not like a uniquely difficult one. It's like in general something's
hmm
bothering you and like how to address that or just express a dislike of that thing. That's it's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. I guess
And then
yeah,
while
it's tricky
while
because
you're
I
worked up
yeah.
by it, it's more so. But yeah,
I
go
know,
ahead.
I know. I mean, yeah, yeah. You're preaching to the choir here, right? I'm the one who was saying all of this earlier, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. It's tricky because I'm like, I feel like I'm walking away with this being like, damn, I need to work on these hypersensitivities clearly. Um, and I guess I'm also walking away with like, damn, it's a shame Kurt can't see that this is bad and that this is like a pattern of yours that is worth interrogating a little more. Um, because to me it seems like such a it's because it's I mean, yeah, maybe I'm just wrong and like no, just like when you're frustrated with things, just like kind of dig at them and laugh at yourself while you dig at them and be condescending is
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
I
Is
guess
like
I'm just like,
I'm not trying to say that I handled it perfectly. I'm not trying to say that. Like I said, like that's why I'm getting at like that. It's hard to do. Is I'm like it is hard. Like I genuinely am struggling to find a way to do that that cannot comparably be criticized. Like a way to say I don't like this thing, but in a way that like doesn't derail Marvel. That's why like I was kind of criticizing the examples you were giving is because I'm like I don't know that there is one. Like I think there are only wrong answers here maybe, and like you just gotta kind of pick a least wrong or like one that like I mean that or you have to like just avoid the situation. That's got its own problems. So you can't like address things in the moment, or you can't even like allude to that you dislike the thing. But we already agreed that like that is a way to go about it. But maybe not like that. That's not to say this is good or bad, but like it's hard to come up. Even now, like having talked about this for hours, it's like I haven't heard or come up with a way to address this situation that is not extremely something that you can criticize a bunch. It's just kind of a situation that's like it feels like there's no right answer to me.
I mean, there are certainly trade-offs to different ones. And I generally think like saying like, hey, I'm not really enjoying this is like usually pretty fine. It's not like it can't be criticized too much except for by, oh, it broke the vibe.
And well, it
You know
also
what I mean?
ends the gaming session. Like necessarily.
I don't think necessarily.
I mean, isn't that what you're saying? Is like I'm going to stop playing now?
What if you just said, oh, I'm not really a fan of this?
Um,
I don't like that.
then I think you'd say I'm not really a fan of what. You don't like what?
And then you'd say, oh, how you just kind of keep ragging on the game and can't, you know?
You'd be like, what do you mean? Like I'm not ragging on the game. I'm just reading a word.
And then you go, yeah, but it's just like the overall vibe and like I feel like you're just like, I want to play this game and have fun, and then you just,
So I
you
think
know,
I think already we've kind of gotten into find out what's wrong with Kurt therapy session territory, and I
God
don't I,
damn.
I don't know that
Wait,
it's
I,
one
I
that.
was like liking that so much more than just the being mean.
But the
And
thing is,
then,
I'm also giving you a pretty charitable. I also see outcomes where you are way more aggressive. Like I think even in that moment, it's like the way that you kind of like demand that I explain the joke that I'm saying is like one in which it's like I think there are way worse outcomes going down that route that I think are not being adequately
right, you
catered
shouldn't
to.
be doing that, dude. You shouldn't be saying the way that you demand this thing. It's like, sure, that's so silly. You're saying the way I reacted to your dig, okay? But right now, we're talking about the way I would react to you saying, I don't really like this.
I
You,
think there's a very real scenario where you get defensive on that.
so, but do you know what I'm saying here? Like, I
I'm
guess
not sure I do.
I think there is a
Because
oh yeah, yeah. I
obviously
mean,
the outcome that
maybe
occurred wasn't the
maybe
one that I
yeah,
was expecting or trying to have happen.
yeah.
The ideal outcome there is like uh, you know, I guess the ideal outcome would be okay. Kurt didn't like that, and then if we're being super ideal, it's Kurt didn't like that because that's a thing that a thing that I kind of do is like these sorts of things with uh, bringing down the vibes in games and overly criticizing them for like things that are like kind of a reach to criticize, perhaps, or
Mm.
whatever. Um, it's like that. Uh, and again, even if that's super ideal, but then there's also a possibility of like, okay, Kurt didn't like that. I'm not really sure why. Um, and that's like an acceptable outcome too. But therapy session when we're trying to play Marvel Rivals is like kind of an outcome I'm kind of trying to avoid. Um, and so it feels like the number of like acceptable outcomes felt kind of maybe greater by some kind of dig or something, but it's hard to say. It kind of depends on how you like interpret a dig in that way, and yeah.
Yeah, I think the therapy sessions can be pretty great, and I think that if you had a rule of being like, I'm not doing the digs anymore, I'm just saying, hey, I didn't really like this thing, I think your life would be better. That's my theory. And maybe we just disagree on this. I think
But
you can be pretty
do you
like,
think it's like really straightforward? You think that intercepting a whole bunch of these sorts of
I
scenarios
don't think
with
everyone ends with a game session ending.
yeah, but it still could be like a pretty annoying situation for other people to go through, and it could prevent further future game sessions from occurring. Um, like I think you saying that like I kind of like the therapy session or whatever it is you said, to me it feels pretty. Most people I think who are around these don't like them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this one, Michael did not interpret as more than just you, dogging on Todd or whatever, and Michael apologized, which I think was totally uncalled for. But I think there are other times where, like, people, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think there are times where you taking this route is pretty uncomfortable for people.
Yeah, yeah, I know that that's also true.
Huh?
Yeah. I know that that's also like like it doesn't make me look good, right? um, but
Yeah, I guess I just I think kind of like there's no way to address how I'm feeling without it becoming a therapy sesh. Just I don't even
yeah.
like
So then
there I'm like, well,
maybe
I don't
then
know.
maybe like you know maybe you know tough. There is no right answer, and the like at best I should not be addressing it. Is like like just suck it up is maybe it.
Hmm.
But like that's um
I don't I mean I ended up being like I don't want to play anymore, right?
yeah
Um but I don't think I'll always end up in that state. And like, this was an instance of me being like, dude, you're being an asshole to me.
so that to
Which
me like that to me felt I didn't feel like I was being an asshole to you. I felt like it was one dig
Well,
about
when you
like,
say it doesn't make me look great, what do you mean?
oh, I mean, what you're saying, like me having the tone that's like, um,
Yeah,
and like
but this isn't asshole-ish.
telling a joke
Okay,
that's not
yeah.
funny. Yeah, okay. I see what you're
That's
saying. I see what you're saying. That's what you mean by asshole-ish. Um,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it doesn't look good, um, but
yeah. I mean,
it's
yeah. I
like,
guess the word asshole is really subjective,
yeah.
and I already said I regret using the word. Um,
I think I missed that.
yeah. It was like if I go back in time, I wouldn't use the word asshole.
Mm.
I'd rather just say like I'm not liking that. What you just said, I don't like, and I'm not really having that great of a time now. So.
Yeah.
Right. I think the word asshole makes it more of like an attack, and then you're gonna get defensive, which I feel like you did. Whereas if I had just, I don't know how you would have played out if I had just said that. If I had just said, you know, I didn't really like that item, and then I'm not
Mm.
really having fun,
Right. Yeah. It
or
doesn't.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think it would have gone pretty differently. So,
Mm.
and it is hard. It's hard when you like got the emotions, and I'm like, wait, I feel like Kurt's being an asshole.
Yeah. But it's
Um,
yeah, it's also like you described it as like asshole mode. Like it feels
mm,
to me like you kind of see it as like unprovoked, like I'm just antagonizing or something.
I mean, this one, I guess it's never unprovoked. You're frustrated for, well, depends on how
Well,
you define provoked.
yeah,
This was a
I don't know about
mishit
that
here, but
because I feel like you genuinely just like just like you described when you were younger. Obviously, this was a long time ago, but where you just want to get on my nerves.
mhm.
So that's unprovoked. That's an instance of
Wait.
proper
Oh,
unprovoked,
that's
right?
me just unprovoked being shitty.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure,
for
sure.
sure. And so like this is it made the way you described asshole mode made it seem like you were kind of seeing it as kind of like that, or at least that was my interpretation when you described it.
Mm,
Is that you seem to think that this is unprovoked and like
mm.
just I get in a
Yeah, I
mode
mean,
where
I
I just
think
want to be a dick to people.
in the present moment, I don't know, that I meant to. I guess in the present moment, I was like, I don't know what would have provoked this, and I'm still kind of like, damn, it was really just thinking that word was crazy. And then it's like, oh, it's thinking the word is crazy and all this context and
Yeah.
history.
It's like
Okay.
the way you say it, and it's like the that it's like it's all these things are frustrating and
But it was just the one thing.
any little like drop of a hat. Hey, what's interesting is like I've actually I can't remember who I said this to, but I actually gave you a lot of credit for the fact that like playing Marvel Rivals has been so different from you playing Valorant, even though there are more abilities and more shit going on. Like
I
I
played a
think
lot of Valorant.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I feel like there has been character development between these two events. Is the
Well, yeah,
primary
the obvious
difference?
one being Deadlock, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
like
I've
I
noticed it
actually
makes a huge difference. Yeah.
I think I called out that exact thing with whoever I can't remember who I was saying this with, but I was like I think that playing Deadlock has like been like a big difference maker there in
Yeah,
that like these
sure.
sorts of
Yeah.
things don't get
I mean, yeah. I'm less overwhelmed, and
yeah.
haven't been very reluctant to play Marvel Rivals at all. I did say it hadn't pulled me in the way the finals did.
I actually I didn't that piece I didn't really understand. I thought you were kind of reluctant before. Like it didn't feel like when I was suggesting it, it felt like you were always either suggesting something else or not really like expressing like a pretty like you're not really interested in it most of the time. At least that's how I
Well,
felt.
yeah, I'm
But
not. See, I mean, I guess. Am I reluctant to play it? no. Uh, am I more drawn to other games? Generally, kind of, yeah. It's not like I'm most drawn to this, but I don't think I've really been a shitter here for Marvel Rivals. Have I? I mean, I got Liam to play with us.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say so. That's what I was saying. I was giving you credit for. I was giving you credit for
Well, yeah.
in Marvel Rivals, you've it feels like
Let's talk about hypersensitivity for a sec, or I guess history,
Yeah.
because it was a crazy word.
Yeah.
And so I say, what the fuck? That's a crazy word in a game that I have been down to play. I have not really complained about. I've been trying different heroes.
Hold on, like down to play is something I wasn't really picking up that much. You seem kind of reluctant to play it. Is how I describe it. Or at least that's how I felt, right? If we're talking about how I'm seeing the situation. But that's not a hypersensitivity
Yeah.
thing. That's a my read on your desire to play this game.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I was reluctant to play it. So from your perspective, I was reluctant to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, God, there's this word I'm gonna dig into. I'm like, wait, I'm like, what's the game plan here? From your perspective, I'm like, because it's not like I've been a shitter here.
Yeah, but
you picked up the shitter
I mean,
somehow and decided to dig into me and make my experience playing it worse. It didn't. It just. Who are you serving?
okay. It's clear that I'm trying to express that I don't like the thing you're doing because I'm seeing. It's not a question of who I'm serving, right? That one we've discussed for hours and we know the answer to. We know we have a decent idea of that. It's a question of why do I like the part we're supposed to be on now, I believe, is why do I think that this is you doing the thing, you being shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. The who are you serving? I think that's a little.
It is separate. It is separate.
Well, yeah, it's not only separate, but I think we already have. That's what we were addressing.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of know the answer to it, and yeah, that part's I think less confusing.
It's just if you step out and stop, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I am kind of like, okay, I don't know what your goal is. But if you're like, if you want me to have fun playing the game, and I don't know if that's your goal. I don't know. But it's a casual game, or at least we're playing it casually. Like, I mean, it's hard because, like, yeah, I feel like we're not really differentiating what you did too far from what Michael did, but it's like this vibe of, I mean, I'm lost.
So I think there's a piece. Okay, so there's more than one goal, right? There are various goals in general, and so I'd say like one, for instance, goal you could see. I mean, this isn't a goal of mine, but like if this were to occur, I think that would be great, and that is you to be less the thing that I think is frustrating to me. And it's not about me getting frustrated by it, and it's not even just you doing it to me. For your own sake, I wish that you were less like quick to dismiss things in the way that you are.
Yeah.
And specifically, it's things that have complexity to them. Many of some of which I think are some of the best things. I'm like, what it does is it dilutes the world in my eyes to just like simpler things in a way that I think is just bad. But okay,
I'm turning my headset off.
I know. I don't need a rant here, but
I might use the word launch. You launched a little bit, but
I did.
We're landing.
It's so frustrating. Okay, so when you're asking like, what's the goal? This is one of them. I mean, it's not. It's not a goal. It's not a goal. But if a thing goes in that direction, that's good. And I would argue that my actions have moved the needle in that direction, just by virtue of how the experience of playing Marvel Rivals has been.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is a notable difference that is not, I think, of your own accord. I think that's largely, if not entirely, my doing, or at least I feel like I take credit for it. Because to me, I see this as a good thing. But yeah, so that's like a goal. Not goal, sorry. But whatever. Yeah, so we can't really talk about like what the goal is of me doing a certain thing because there are a lot of conflicting directions
Yeah.
to go in.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess, yeah. I guess. Um. Hmm. Because I mean, yeah, playing, X hour, 250 games of Deadlock
Mm-hmm.
has made me way more, way less overwhelmed by 5v5 heroes with a bunch of abilities types of games, right?
6v6, but yeah.
Yeah. True. I still don't really see myself, like kind of falling in love with Marvel Rivals in a certain way.
Yeah.
I feel like it still hasn't really grabbed me. I'm certainly less overwhelmed. Don't really feel like I've been much of a shitter. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess maybe more overwhelmed me would have been more of a shitter, probably. But I don't have any idea what the frick is going on. Right? I think if Red's like, you can't turn around, or you have to turn around, right? It's like, okay. In Smash, whatever. But like, uh, yeah. So, yeah, I guess this is not surprising to me that that I'm less overwhelmed now. Um, yeah. I don't really know, like, me having not been much of a shitter, I feel like is kind of like late, as of late. Uh, is yeah, I don't know why you got so upset. I don't know.
Do you remember if that was before or after we played with like Liam and
I don't remember. It was probably after.
okay. I'm just trying to think of like what information I had like at the
Yeah, it was after. We haven't played since then.
Yeah, I know.
And we
Yeah,
played
oh
with Liam,
yeah, that
so
makes
it,
sense.
it
Yeah.
has to be before
That
or
makes
after. I mean,
sense.
it has to be
Yeah,
after.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't rewatched the whole VOD, right? Like so, but I don't remember what I was doing aside from that word being crazy, and so I don't know why you were so frustrated.
Well, I mean, I
And
think it's right. It's entirely
yeah,
in just tone and just like the history of like it's just possible that that it's a similar tone to things that
yeah.
have frustrated you.
This is exactly what I would categorize as hypersensitivity. I know you don't want to use that word, but if it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is a tone that's similar to this other thing, in a setting that's similar to this other thing,
Mhm.
that's what this thing is. When all I was saying is, this is a crazy.
Mhm.
How do you spell the word? You know, it's like it was just a crazy word. What the fuck is this word, right? But yeah, the tone, I get it, and I get how through the mind of someone that I would categorize as hypersensitive to this sort of thing.
Mhm.
You know, it's splitting hairs. Whether you want to say, oh, yours is hypersensitive, mine's just the history, and this is naturally what I would do. But
I mean,
I don't, I
I
don't
don't
see
think
this
those are
as like,
synonyms, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, I don't like, you know, I haven't been a shitter with Marvel Rivals. I feel like I, I don't know, no. But maybe I don't know. There were times where I was like, what if we tried CS?
True.
Maybe I was being a shit. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
remember it being a shitter,
Yeah.
but
It's hard to say. Yeah.
hmm?
Um. Yeah, it's hard to say. Speaking of which, you also mentioned the finals, which I would actually be down to play, but um, that's
I
up to
mean,
you.
at one point I was like, dude, we have 3 people. What if we played the finals?
Yeah, I remember that.
No one was
Yeah,
interested.
I know. I
All
wasn't at the
right.
time. I wasn't,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's
Maybe that was me being a shitter. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, I've seen Mikey online in the finals.
I
I've seen
know. So have
several
I.
people playing it.
Conakry has been.
Yeah, I'm like people are. Conakry's like been playing the finals. It feels like a like since
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
crazy.
it's also like I went on the subreddit for this game, saw some complaints about just the optimization of it, and that's something I've been. It's like my biggest problem with this fucking game right now is that I drop to single digit FPS every time I fucking play. It's so annoying. Every time I
That's
play
crazy.
Hawkeye, at least. I don't know if I just
Crazy.
notice it more on Hawkeye or what, but it's like it's so frustrating. And I updated my graphics drivers today, and it still happened.
Damn.
And I went on the subreddit and I saw other people just talking about how the optimization's so bad, and then some people saying that Unreal Engine 5 is just, which is something Mason said a bunch, but I guess a lot of people are like, Unreal Engine 5 is just, it's relatively new and it's
Yeah.
just not very well optimized and all this stuff. And then the main exception that everyone goes to as a game that is like Unreal Engine
Is
5,
Marvel Rivals?
no, is
Oh.
fucking the finals. Everybody says the finals is incredibly optimized for the shit they're doing.
Yeah,
The all the destructible environments and shit that they do, like
yeah.
that
Yeah.
game is
It
made by
does this run crazy
experts.
good.
It just runs so well
Yeah.
considering it's like what should be the most intensive fucking game. Like
Yeah,
it's a game that looks like it shouldn't be possible.
yeah.
And yet it runs way better than this game that looks like it could have been run on a fucking toaster in 2016. Like
Yeah.
it's not like the game looks impressive by any speculation. I mean, it looks cool, it looks fine, but it doesn't look
Yeah.
like the finals.
Not that crazy. Yeah. Vanessa actually just got back, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go. But
Yeah.
I'm glad this turned out feeling, at least for me, somewhat productive.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.